Hi, I'm David Amara and welcome to the Growing Further podcast. Through the Growing Further initiative, we're trying to help new ideas make real world impact. This podcast is a series of chats with leaders from different businesses from a wide variety of industries who are doing just that, using their businesses to drive on and make a really positive impact in their chosen fields. Today in the Growing Further podcast, we've got something a little bit different. We've got one of Ireland's top podcasters, Gary Fox of the Entrepreneur Experiment. We're going to turn the tables on Gary and ask him questions about how he's building up a media empire right here in Ireland. Gary Fox, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Very welcome.
You're very kindly offered to, no, sorry, you didn't offer, you accepted the invitation to let me turn the tables on you.
No choice. It's always weird sitting this side as well. I was like, do I say welcome to the pod? No, that's it.
Yeah. It's I'm in control now. So
here we go.
I think I sat down with you nearly this time last year, actually. I think it was September of last year, was it?
I think so.
Earlier,
yeah, maybe a bit earlier, yeah.
You were interviewing me about all things Growing Further and Green Man Group and stuff, and now it's you've got a very interesting business story yourself, so I'd love to
dig
jump
in.
into that.
I have to try to remember. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about other people so much.
Yeah. Tell me about early Gary. You're a tip man like myself, but what was life like growing up in North Tipperary? I'm from South Tipperary.
Oh wow,
so
we're going all the way back.
Yeah.
So grew up outside Nina. Trying to think now back, like the usual kind of stuff. Small, tiny little national school.
Soccer, hurling.
Everything, to be fair. It's mainly a GA kind of area, but I love soccer. Always grew up playing soccer. But like, we went to a really small national school, and then when I went to Nina for secondary school, and that would have been kind of like the biggest local town. So would have went Nina CBS, and then from there on to UL to study business.
Okay. And was business in your background, or why business? Just
well, I kind of got lucky in that.
Or was entrepreneurship in your background?
Yeah, not really. Although I haven't said that. I think my mum was a nurse, my dad was a guard. I think if both of them grew up now, they wouldn't be either.
Right.
I think that was just the path back then. Whereas dad's always
they didn't meet in coppers.
No,
pre-coppers.
It was pre-coppers. That's how old it is. But I think now, like, dad's always been entrepreneurial.
Okay.
But I think back then that really wasn't a route. You know, he grew up on a farm in Galway, and like the eldest got the farm and the rest did whatever. Go fend for yourself.
Got this steady pensionable job.
Yeah, more or less. You know, because you forget how there wasn't a whole lot of routes back then. You know, from rural Monavea and Galway. So he made a career for himself in the guards, but was always kind of doing things on the side, whether it was cars. I'd always remember growing up, he'd be doing up cars and selling them, or, you know, be like caravans, then camper vans. He kind of discovered that was his kind of thing. So he started doing camper vans for us. We'd always go to France every year in a camper van. Then as soon as that holiday was over, he'd sell it, buy a van, build a new one.
That was his winter project?
That was his winter project, yeah.
Cool.
And it was probably in him, but he just kind of like expressed it that way. He had a very busy job with the guards and stuff like that. So
I'm just back from my first ever camping holiday.
That's why it was in my brain. It's funny, you triggered it in my brain when you said that earlier. I was like, I remember
11,500 people on site, about 10,500 Germans in camper vans. Was the breakdown.
Yeah.
It's a whole world I knew nothing about, but it's big.
That's cool. Yeah, I grew up. Yeah, look, I was lucky enough to, I think from when I was about maybe 5th or 6th class. Yeah, around that, I think we would go off every summer. We'd go off for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, get the ferry across to the UK, drive to the UK, stay with my aunt in London, then drive down to Dover and get the ferry across.
Very cool.
Oh, it's a mad adventure when you're that age. It's class. So
we had a big family event this summer, and I had cousins over from Texas, and herself and her husband went on a hiking tour up around the north coast, around Antrim, and she said, well, we want to do something different. We've only ever come to Ireland to visit farms and cousins, and that's exactly what holidays were like for me as a kid. So you were a bit more exotic.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, they worked for it, and there wasn't anything glamorous about it, but it was cool. You know, it was really an adventure every summer. So they still do it. Literally today, they're in France right now.
Cool.
They do it every year. They've done it every year. So I was lucky enough then. Dad would get his phones from this guy in Tip, is around kind of mobile phones getting really popular in Nina. And he asked him, could I have a part-time job this summer? And that was kind of the spark of it. It was like when I worked with Tom in Nina in the phone shop, so I'd work like at the weekends first, but then after school, and then kind of like weekends, started doing markets with him, and I was like, oh, this is class. This is a career.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't know what you don't know.
There's money in my pocket.
Yeah, and it was good crack.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was lucky. Like in life, you can be very, you can make all these plans in the world, but a lot of it comes down to the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
You can get lucky. You do engineer your luck. I do believe that is true. You engineer your luck by working hard and putting yourself in these positions and taking the chance. But I was lucky to meet Tom at that time and kind of get that experience to kind of go, hey, this is cool. And then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Honestly, I didn't. I was just like, yeah, business sounds good, like good general grounding degree. And I chose UL, it was a great college, very close to us. But again, didn't really know what I wanted to do.
So keep it general at the start.
Yeah.
So you weren't the guy with loads of side hustles in college, were you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I worked. I started with Tom. We started doing the markets then on a Sunday. So you'd work after school during the week, then you'd work in the shop on the Saturday, and then we'd do the markets on a Sunday. So it could be like Punchestown, or it could be in Clara and Offaly. There's markets all over Ireland on a Sunday. Probably less popular now, but back then they were kind of very popular. So we'd go and we'd do phone unlocking, repairs, sales. And like it was a real education. Like the markets sharpen you up. Like they teach you best. I probably learned more in the markets than I did in my degree. 100%. They just teach you like you're surviving on your wits. Like because people will literally buy and sell you in the markets. Like it's razor sharp. So from that, I actually started a phone shop then in UL. Okay. So when I went to UL, still working a bit with Tom. And we kind of partnered up on this phone shop.
This is back in the Nokia days.
Yeah. Nokia 3310. I made more money out of those Nokia 3310s than I probably had in my whole media career. It was great.
You're making me nostalgic now.
Phones were booming. I was away with someone there at the weekend and we were laughing about like it was a good boom times. Like the first boom, it was like AIB had a branch on campus. And if you opened up an account, you got a phone and a credit card.
Yeah. I remember it well, yeah.
Yeah, it's mental. I
started college in 2002. That was
exactly.
all the
so there was thousands of people walking around UL with a Siemens C35 and a credit card.
Text would cost you about 25 cents back then.
And people were flush, like everyone had money. So I set up the phone shop and I'd be trading in all the phones because no one wanted them. Everyone wanted a Nokia. So I'd trade in all the phones, sell them a Nokia. And I took the front half of the Students' Union, like literally subleased the front half of the Students' Union, set up a phone shop, got all my mates to work with me. So I lived the life in UL for 4 years.
People are going to see this now and go, that fecker, he took my phone and made a packet off it.
There you go. Well,
the penny's dropping.
Fair service or fair price.
And you ended up in the kind of property business in a roundabout way.
In a roundabout way, yeah. In a very, very roundabout way. So I went off after UL to a grad program in the States.
Okay.
So I did the IBEC grad program. So again, coming out of college, I was like, don't actually know what I want to do. And
a common story,
it's a common theme as I kind of look back. But again,
I think there's a big gap there in the education system or whatever for kind of career guidance. I mean, it's a big problem.
It was awful.
Because everyone's so focused on leaving cert in Ireland and going to college or whatever, and then it's like, what next?
But not even that though, David. It's just like, I remember our career guidance teacher, chronic, like, come in and put on these tapes made by Foss in the 80s. You're like, this is talking about mining. None of us are going to be going down the mines anytime soon. The silver mines was beside us, but like that was shut down years ago. Yeah. So like it was chronic. Like I laugh about it now, but it is poor. Like I don't know what it's like now. I can't speak for what it's like now, but like back then you weren't really given, you weren't really shown it. Like, and I grew up in Nina, so like in Nina, very agricultural town, industrious town, but very agricultural. There would have been a couple of factories. So there wasn't exactly like these massive beacons of examples of careers to kind of go, oh, you could be this, you could be that. Whereas I think now with social media, it has a lot of detractors, but it does show people what's possible.
Yeah, it's
you can be from any part of Ireland or any part of the world and kind of go, oh, I didn't know that was a job. Didn't know that was a job. Like it was still like, I'm kind of aging myself now, but like what was it, 20 a bit years ago. So like there was much less knowledge and much less awareness of all the different types of roles you can have.
Yeah.
So I just did the IBEC program, which is great. You know, after college, I was looking up. I went and worked in Intel in Maynooth during my kind of placement, and they're like, "Oh, come back and work here if you want." I was like, "That's not for me." Kind of knew what I didn't want to do.
I think UL's was a bit ahead of the game with that, given that practical work
placement.
Experience. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, huge. Like because again, how do you know?
Yeah,
like people go through entire degrees to be whatever, an accountant or whatever, but they've never worked in accountancy. You know, and then you land in, you're like, oh, I didn't like this at all.
I hate office environments.
Yeah. So I think we need way more, like, I think there should be much more focus towards the apprenticeship model of teaching and the apprenticeship model of learning. You should be given experience throughout your your school days of different industries. And there should be more continuous learning, continuous assessment, whereby it's not just this big exam at the end and then, okay, off into the world you go.
Yeah.
I think you should be far more teaching people how to learn and how to apply. So I did the IBREC program.
Also as well, sorry, just to cut across you there, but I mean, practical skills like just managing your finances or
Bingo.
running a house, running a car, like there's a huge
Living,
lack
being
of,
an adult.
Yeah.
You go out at 18 and you haven't a clue.
Yeah.
You haven't a clue. Like you go from living at home where everything is there to like going to college and you just are like, it's just so much to take in. But even like managing your money, like it's just not talked about. Like, so just even practical skills of learning how to have a budget. I think that's why getting a job when you're young is very good. Yeah. That teaches you going, oh, okay, I earned 80 quid this weekend.
And a lot of it's kind of like, oh, we do that in our transition year program. There might be an hour given over to us.
Yeah.
Like it should be constantly through.
For sure.
Through all stages. From
finance, communication skills, all the kind of core things.
So it bottles up a lot of problems for later in life.
I think so. But sure, people then get money and don't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
Just people here in Ireland is especially bad in that. Don't really talk about it. Yeah. It's kind of seen as a taboo subject still even.
Yeah. Well, it's something we see quite a bit in work. I mean, you're strong in a lot of the platforms, particularly, I guess, Instagram and TikTok, and there's a lot of knowledge gaps being filled by these influencers who may or may not be regulated, and it's a bit of a grey area. So
but not even about being regulated. It's more about they're just full of shit. They're just telling people the wrong thing.
I think that's what the central bank thinks. Yeah, that's the terminology they use.
But but credibility. So are they credible? Are they living that? Is there examples? Because like we were joking about just before we started, like on the internet, no one knows you're a dog.
Yeah.
On the internet, no one knows if that's your Porsche.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of go, oh, wow, look at this. And I see a lot of younger guys in their 20s now. Because I've been doing this experiment for the last year, investing 10 euros a day in the stock market and 10 euros a day into Bitcoin.
Okay.
Since September 1st last year. And it's just coming to an end now. So I'm starting to talk about it more and starting to talk to people about it. And there's a real undercurrent of like younger guys, especially in their 20s, trying to get rich in crypto.
Yeah.
To me, I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to teach myself good financial habits, but just by investing every day.
Yeah.
Without taking care of what the market thinks, just not timing the market, time in the market.
Yeah.
Because I'm 42 now? No one taught me about personal finance. No one sat me down when I was 18 and was like, right, here's how you do the 50-30-20 rule, you know, 50 for, you know, your must-haves, 20, invest 20 and live off the rest. Like just, no one taught me that.
But it's out there. I guess it's accessible for people, but...
it is, but it's finding out who's real.
There's a lot of noise.
Is that guy real? Is what he's saying legit? Is that a good idea? Because a lot of people have an angle. Yeah. A lot of people are trying to sell you something, a course, or sign up to this and get a free. And it's amazing. Some of them are doing it just for like 10 euros affiliate fees for getting people to sign up to different things. You're like... it's bogey. Like that's why I'm very careful with the brand I've built to make sure I'm very trustworthy and build it over time, build it slowly and build it right.
Yeah. And how's your experiment gone? Are you at liberty to say?
Oh, way up. Yeah.
I'll
pull the figures for you before
you're going to retire now next September.
Retire. But you know what? I'm going to continue it because the principles has taught me like of just don't automate everything.
Yeah.
So I just automated it. So there wasn't a week where I was like, oh.
Like your pension, forget about it then.
Yeah. Just let it do its thing. Like I've read loads of finance books over the year because when I do an experiment, I use that as a chance just to immerse myself in that area. But I only learn by having skin in the game. So I don't learn by just like reading the book and going, oh yeah, I've digested all that, because I don't apply it. If I don't apply something, it's gone. It's
funny what you talk about those principles of, you know, getting your portfolio together, but there's a relation of my mother's who was like quite a senior guy in an American kind of financial house and went to Japan for a lot of his career. And he was meeting the team and then he was trying to find out the translation for don't put all your eggs in one basket. And they were like scratching their heads. But that was totally alien to the Japanese way of investing. It was like, get yourself a good company, stay with that company for life, invest in their shares. And they didn't get the concept at all, which is a fundamental
diversification
kind of investing.
That's interesting.
So the closest they could find was actually the opposite. It was almost put everything in the same basket. So just,
there is no translation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild, isn't it?
Cultural difference. He's got a book actually called The Safe Investor. Timothy McCarthy, if anyone's interested.
Okay, shout out Timothy.
Shout out Timothy, yeah. But yeah, it's just those cultural differences are kind of interesting.
Yeah, they are. But I think also in Ireland we do need to do a lot better job of just being more open about it.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about pensions quite a bit and things like that, but it shocks you. Like I meet smart people all the time, and some of them have no pension.
Yeah,
especially business owners. they're all in. The Japanese model of like all in on the business, which is great when it works, but when it doesn't, like we all remember the crash. We all remember 2008.
They
We all know what happened
the
there.
money squirreled away. It's all kind of tied into
Property or tied into whatever their business is, and the business goes down. And but even simple stuff, like I met someone last week, and they're, what are they, 3 or 4 years in business, and they're still operating the sole trader model. I was like, why? I was like, why are you not a limited company now? Why don't you have multiple limited companies? And they're like, oh, it's just handier to tip along this way. And you're like, oh.
What's the fix the gate analogy? I'm too busy to take care of that now.
But that's the thing. I think we just need more transparency, more openness, more transparency. Conversations like this where people are like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, it's working out.
And you spent a bit of time in the States. I'm not sure how long did you spend there?
A year.
Okay.
Yeah, so a bit in California and then up to Canada.
Cool. So you're talking to entrepreneurs every day of the week now. Did you get any taste of that entrepreneurial culture in America, or did you pick up on any differences? Or
No, it was very different back then. I was working for 2 big companies back then, and it was very different. It was so I was kind of like the Irish. So I was working for an Irish company, and I was placed with their partner company in the US. And I was like their representative to kind of like further their interest in the US.
Just 23, 24 years of age, kind of.
Yeah. Kind of breeze what I was doing. They knew what they were doing me either. IBEC must have been giving them a good grant.
Can't believe they're paying me.
Yeah, kind of. But it was bizarre. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good experience in terms of growing up. It was good experience in terms of just world experience, but in terms of like business and stuff, you were doing very mundane things. You weren't doing a whole lot. It was kind of, I think that's how I ended up back in the property, because I came back and they were like, the Canada company offered me a job, and then the Irish company offered me a job. And I said no to both. And I just didn't want to work in that kind of big company environment. I didn't know what I did want to do, but I knew I wanted to do, whether it was in a smaller environment or kind of try something again for myself. Because after college, I just kind of let the phones die off and said, right, I better try the career thing and just see, because I didn't know. Yeah. Because that's what everybody was doing. Everyone was like, oh, good, get a job here. Because it was kind of 2004. So like it's kind of like now, it's full employment. Yeah. So you kind of had to pick a jobs.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's good. What I was asking the question is kind of your approach to your career and carving out your own thing is very kind of un-Irish in some ways. It's you haven't gone down the safe road in any way. I mean, you've kind of, that's a kind of an American kind of attitude, I think, to back yourself and
I think so. And I was always unintentional though. I kind of wish I had more people. I think that's why I'm so adamant now on mentors and having good people around you, because I kind of wish I'd had more people around me steering the ship, because I was kind of making gut reactions. Not like on a whim, but I'd kind of just go, I don't really know why I'm making this decision, but I'm just going to make that decision.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish in hindsight now, I don't regret, because you can't regret, you just learn from them, but I just kind of, I would love to have had a few more mentors around me kind of going, look, I've been around this way, I think you should do just giving me kind of not telling me what to do, but just guidance. Just go give me examples of how things can work out.
Yeah. So that stage you come back from the States and you don't want to go into the big company kind of world, big corporate world. What's the next step?
So go back and work for Tom. He was setting up a property company. He bought a property company. He'd taken a right turn from the phones, and he was like, oh, I'm setting up this property company. Do you want to come work with me? I was like, yeah, it sounds like more like crack. That sounds like good crack. So did that, back to Limerick for a year, 2 years, 2 years maybe. And did the property thing. I've always loved property. I've always just had this, like, I don't know what it is, just a really deep interest. Like when I was like in 5th year, I'd be watching like property shows, like the flip shows, how to renovate, all that kind of stuff. Just always had an interest. I don't really know why, but always had the interest. So when a chance came up then to work in property and kind of learn all about it, I was like, yeah, definitely want to like have some experience and knowledge in property at some stage. And back then, property is really popular as well. It was kind of like the crypto of the day. Everybody was like buying property, and it was kind of like Ireland was flush with cash. And
what can go wrong?
Well, what can go wrong? I literally, funny story, full circle story. I literally sold an apartment 2 weeks ago. I bought when I was working in Limerick.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The worst investment of my life.
06, 07 purchase kind of?
No, I bought it when I was 23. So yeah, it was just before that.
Okay.
So just the worst.
Right.
Just the worst investment.
You're through some.
But again, I
highs and
learned
lows
a lot from it. Like I learned a ton from it, and it probably inadvertently led to certain decisions I made and certain forms my investment decision. Now, as soon as it got back up, I was like, I'm gone out of it, and I'd be very loath to buy property again.
there. Really, yeah.
I think small residential in Ireland is totally different than the likes of what you guys do. I think it just only strengthens the case for working with people like an investment company who know their stuff, who know what they're doing. I think investing as a single landlord in Ireland is very difficult because I've had so much exposure through the previous business with house builders. I've got to see everything from a landlord's perspective and worked with like hundreds of landlords over the 6-7 years.
And issues you're seeing there in relation to landlord protections or just the concentration risk or what?
How difficult it is to make money now.
Yeah.
Like very few people will be listening to this crying tears for landlords, but it's very
Make the case for the small landlord.
it's so fun, not funny, but like when I was working, so I used to work in short-term rentals. So I had a property management company, and what we did was short-term rentals, so anything from 2 to 14 days. And a lot of our
Airbnb type stuff.
Exactly. And so I rode the Airbnb wave up when everyone thought it was cool.
Right.
And then I had to ride the Airbnb wave down when people were like, it's the worst thing in the world.
You're a
You are
scumbag.
Satan.
Yeah.
You are absolutely, everything is wrong with the world. And like RTE would ring me at least once a week going, hey, will you come on Liveline and be the landlord spokesman? And I was like,
Absolutely no way.
under no circumstances.
You don't want to go toe-to-toe with Joe Duffy?
I was like, Angus, I'm never going to come out of that looking well. Under no circumstances am I going to come on and fight the corner of the landlord. It's like, because you'll get ripped apart. So but in terms of being a small landlord, like if you're working hard, you're a business owner, you're like, I want to divest, right? What do? Most people go into property. Most Irish people go, I'm going to buy a safe investment. I'm going to buy bricks and mortar. Not terrible logic, but it's between the tax, between the landlord protection, the tenant protection, the rent cap, just how expensive property is. Just the margins aren't there.
Yeah.
For the work you're doing and the risk you're taking.
And is the risk almost exclusively in relation to, assuming you've no debt or whatever, is it exclusively in relation to kind of tenants and the volatility of the tenants?
For sure. Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, for sure. Because as a landlord, you're extremely exposed. Yeah. That's why so many people came and worked with me, because I would take away the risk for them in terms of like the properties were turned over every 2 to 7 days. So they knew no one was going to squat in their apartment. That is a real issue. Squatting and people refusing to move out is a real issue in Ireland. People don't really talk about it.
Yeah.
People just go, nah, staying.
Okay.
And I was like,
not paying rent.
But you can't though. Like, what are you going to do about it? And nothing. And there's very little you can do.
Yeah.
It can be 2 years, 3 years getting them out. So imagine you have an investment and you're paying the mortgage. Let's say the mortgage is $3,000, $4,000 a month as a landlord. You're just one landlord, you just have one house and you're paying back $3,000 a month, and for 3 years someone doesn't leave your property. You're in serious financial trouble. And I've seen it happen with people. I've seen people get into serious trouble because they use whatever capital they've saved up from their job or their business to put the down payment on a second property, and people think, oh, second property, good for you. But not really. Like you're trying to build a future for yourself and your family, and then if they get a bad tenant, they're stuck.
So if that's, you've not gotten a pension for yourself and just done that, you're massively exposed to single
asset. Let's say, you're looking at $33,000 a year, so you could be $100,000 in debt after 3 years.
Yeah,
it's not coming back. Like they're not going to like retroactively make the tenant pay.
Yeah.
So there was all that kind of stuff, and that's to be honest, the host builders business I had was very popular because of that. Not only were the returns better, but people have more flexibility and control over their asset.
Okay.
Because as an investor, you know yourself, you have to control the asset.
So you didn't own any assets. You were doing longer term rentals and then doing doing the short term.
No, I was working directly with you. So you're the landlord.
Yeah.
I work with you, and I said, right, we're going to split the revenue 80-20.
Okay.
And you still own the property. You still pay everything. I don't pay you, but you retroactively pay me 20% at the end of the month.
You dealt with all the hassle.
Exactly. Beautiful business model.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
That's why I loved it. That's why it's so simple. When I come up with it, I was like, yeah, I like this. Because as I got older, I realized I need to work with the models that suit me and my personality type. I like simple things. It's very clean. There's no like arguments about it. There's no kind of like debate about it. It is what it is. So you'd get a statement off Airbnb. You'd see all the money going into your account. End of the month, I'd send you an invoice, 20%. That was it.
Okay. And was that all around Ireland or mainly Dublin?
Ireland,
Yeah.
just Dublin.
Just Dublin.
Just Dublin, because it's a density play.
Yeah.
You have to have a dense portfolio. And ironically, we got so big that we had like probably the nightly occupancy of a small hotel, like 200 and 250 people, but it was all around Dublin.
Okay.
So it was a big logistical operation.
That's a lot of people.
It was a lot of people.
How many people in a night get locked out or
Yeah.
break
You'll
windows?
give me PTSD now. Like it was only after about 3 months of COVID, I realized how on edge I was.
Really, yeah.
Because I developed such a good system that the guys and girls that worked for me were so good. So if my phone rang, there was a big problem.
Big problem. Okay.
Big problem. We're talking something major. Like we're talking a
blue,
big
blue flashing lights and
bingo. Yeah. That's the level of like,
Okay.
because it all different. Because like you know yourself, it's just reps. So if we have 200-300 people every 2 days, you see a lot.
Yeah.
And you develop all these playbooks. So I always said to the girls, I was like, if it happens more than twice, let's have a protocol for it.
Okay.
So there's protocols for everything. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. And slowly but surely you develop this playbook of just systems. That's why I think I'm so systems orientated now, is that I realize how beautiful that is in your business, that when you do something more than twice, have a system.
Takes up less mental capacity then if you're...
Well, then there's no
something to
doubt.
consult.
There's no ambiguity, because
Yeah.
when you're dealing with people, and like it was a big responsibility to deal with people's assets. I took it extremely seriously. You're dealing with people's investments. I always said to the girls who worked, I was like, this is probably someone's pension, this is someone's investment, this is someone's home. We treat this like it's our own. We treat this with respect and seriousness. And on the flip side, we had two bosses. We had the landlord, but we also had the guest. And like the guest would come in, that could be like a holiday of a lifetime they'd saved up for in the States for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So it had to be right as well. So there was a lot going on. That's why it was so important that there was never any doubt. I just always wanted to remove doubt from any situation, going, well, in this situation, someone's locked out. This is the protocol. Someone doesn't turn up. This is the protocol. Because like mad stuff happened all the time. Every day there'd be stuff like people wouldn't show up, or people would get locked out, or people would get pissed and forget where they were staying.
Yeah.
You know, it was good crack, but bloody hard work.
Bloody hard work. Intense, yeah. And what happened?
COVID. Now, in fairness,
The big C.
I always knew, the big C. I always knew it was going to be a business of a time, because as I was building it out, I was like, okay, this is extremely good. I saw the opportunity with Airbnb, and I tested and experimented with it. And I was like, yeah, there's demand here. And I kind of rode the wave up. But then at the top, I was like, I didn't divest. That was my big mistake. And this informs my kind of investments now. I didn't separate my risk. What I should have done is I should have got like a small boutique hotel and taken the lease on that. Went, right, now we're going to do both. We're going to have a small boutique hotel, which we run day to day, and then we're going to have the Airbnb management business. I should have moved the risk. Instead, all the risk was we were the middleman for the landlord, and we operated 90% on Airbnb.
Okay.
So we're a tourist market, we're
Totally
exposed.
concentration risk, yeah.
Totally exposed, totally at the whim of other people as well.
Yeah.
So that is definitely informed, and you have to learn, right? You know, I said earlier about not regretting. You have to learn from the stuff that hasn't worked before.
Yeah.
I think that's what the podcast and the media stuff now, I'm very careful to make sure that I'm trying to divest out of that. So I'm not just reliant on just the podcast and stuff like that. So that we were totally reliant on Airbnb. So I remember January, Rafa said to me, she goes, oh, Gary, we had like a couple of cancellations from China. I was like, oh, okay. It happen all the time. I was like, all right, cool, just log out or whatever. And then she goes, oh, we've had a few more. I was like, oh, okay. Just pattern emerging there. And I was like, why are they cancelling? Oh, there's some sort of like virus or some sort of like sickness.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, look, yeah, it's fine. And then it was the Six Nations weekend, Italy. We're playing Ireland in Dublin.
Remember it well, yeah.
And we had mass cancellations.
We're seeing some lost-looking Italian fans wandering around with no match to go to. Yeah.
So mass cancellations. We're like, uh-oh, this is serious now. And Paddy's Day was coming up, and we were just cancellation. And Paddy's Day was like the biggest. March was the biggest month of the year.
Yeah, really.
It's huge. Like, because from March to October, Americans keep Dublin going.
Yeah.
People don't realize this. And this is why I was always like, oh, people don't get it. People were complaining about Airbnb and complaining about tourists and complaining about this. It's like, you don't realize. We see it right now.
Yeah.
If you walk around the city now, the city's quiet. American tourists aren't coming. Things are slowed down. Like that's the knock-on effect of, there's a great phrase, never tear down a fence till you realize what's on the other side. People tore down the Airbnb.
Are US visitor numbers way down this year?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's a combination. That's a little bit of Trump, but that's also a little bit of like, it's harder. Airbnbs are harder to get. So we would have families coming. So Airbnb works great for groups. For couples, it's okay, but for groups, it's really, really cost-effective way of traveling. And it's a nicer way because they're all together.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know if you go to a hotel with your family?
Share your breakfasts and...
but like let's say there's three family generations, like, the grandparents, the parents and their kids. Like they all need different rooms in hotels, expensive. They're all like, oh, what time are we meeting here? Oh, let's go there. It's all separated, whereas in an Airbnb, they're all together. It's a really nice way of traveling. So we would have Americans that would come in, they'd stay with us for maybe like 2-3 nights, and then they go Cork, Kerry, Galway, back. Like they're spending 20 to 30 to 50 to 100 grand on an Irish trip.
Yeah.
Like they were powering the economy, So there was a huge amount of that coming through us. So like Airbnb did do a huge lot for the economy. I know people have negatives to say about it, but it drove so much value through the economy.
COVID starts coming, you're noticing a drop off in Chinese visitors, and next thing just snowballs.
We lost 500,000 in 4 weeks.
Wow.
I had to stop counting.
Sobering.
It sobered me up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I was pretty sober by that end of 4 weeks. So we, again, with systems, we were tracking everything. We had Google Sheets and everything was getting tracked, every single cancellation. Because I was like, right, as soon as this clears up, we're rebooking everybody. Yeah. Because that would happen. It would happen all the time. People would have cancelled due to sickness or whatever. Life, right? Yeah. Loads of cancellations, but we'd always bring them back and slot them back in. So I was like, right, we're going to have to re-slot back in everybody. And after 4 weeks, I was like, you can stop the sheet.
Yeah.
We're not going to be slotting people back in. This is massive. Like, so at the end of 4 weeks, we knew this was like a global shutdown.
Did you have anyone to bounce problems off?
Yeah, to be fair, I had started the podcast, which was lucky enough. I'd started the podcast probably a year before.
Okay.
So I started to build a network because I realized I was quite siloed when I was building the business. I was kind of on my own. I was a solo operator in terms of like, it was a solo founder, and I realized I wasn't really getting around other people. I was busy all the time with the business, and I wasn't kind of like learning what's coming and things like that. So I'd started the podcast, started developing a good network. So I had built up a reasonable network, and I had people to bounce it off, and that's just invaluable.
That was fortuitous that you'd
Yeah, it was fortuitous, but I kind of planned that way. I was like, all right, I need to figure out what's next. Like the irony is the podcast was started to test new ideas.
Okay.
And then became the idea. Like there is a huge irony there in that I was like, oh, I'm going to test new business ideas and I'm going to document it through this podcast. That was episode 1. And then by episode 4, I realized it was a terrible idea. I realized that was a shocking idea because...
Season 1 finished.
Well, absolutely, right? But this is the power of experimentation. That's why I'm so big on it. Like if I hadn't have started that and I hadn't started experimenting with that, I would never be here. I'd never have figured it out because... Like I said to you earlier, I don't learn unless I apply it. So I never would have learned any media skills. I never would have learned about anything. But I realized, okay, I want to keep going. And I'd done a few interviews with people to just kind of like, give me a mentor. Like, you're going to be my mentor. I'm in a new journey. Yeah. And people were really starting to enjoy that. Like there was probably like 30 people listening.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is good. I enjoy this. And I couldn't fully maybe rationally explain it to you now going... It was just never a plan to build it into a media company or to like this to take over the business. This was meant to be the vehicle that helped me find the next thing.
Yeah.
So it was that's how it all started.
Okay. So what stage did you have to pull the plug on the property business?
Yeah. So we kept it going for quite a while. I really didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Genuinely didn't know what to do. I was quite lost. I think there's a huge lesson there. No one can tell you.
Yeah.
No one can tell you the right answer. I think there's a real myth around at the minute in terms of like, oh, just listen to what Hormozy says, or just listen to what Vaynerchuk says, or listen to what someone else says. No one can tell you the right answer. You can take learnings from them, but you have to be the one that applies it to your situation. Because only you know, how does that make you feel, what your actual goal is, what do you want? I think for me, I spent a lot of time figuring out during COVID, what do I want? Yeah. What do I actually want to be doing day
Which
to day?
isn't always clear to someone straight away.
It's very hard.
It can take a lot of time to get to that point.
It can. Yeah, it can. Like, because you get busy being busy. You get busy working on the idea and you get busy pursuing things. And to be honest, COVID was a real bad time. Like there was just a lot of stuff, other stuff that went on personally in my personal life that just made it 10 times worse. You know, there was just other stuff that went on. Like we were trying to have a family and we had a number of setbacks there. And like I lost a few people that died during COVID as well. So there's just a time there that's just like the lost years.
Life's got a way of throwing things at you in clumps, doesn't it?
Just like that thing of threes, like you're just like, holy shit. So I was quite lost. I have no problem admitting I was very lost for probably 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, for probably 20 to 22, 23.
So is it fair to say the podcast was a kind of fun little side project that you enjoyed doing, that gave you a bit of relief from all of that?
Yeah, I loved it and still love it. And it was... It's work, but it's so enjoyable.
So let's talk about the brand and everything. So you started the podcast. What was it called initially?
It was the Entrepreneur Experiment.
Okay, you've had that since day one.
Yeah. And people still stumble over the name after 6 years.
Yeah.
The Entrepreneur
Exclamation mark.
So I'm like, yeah. Experiment.
And Gary Fox, is that a made-up name or is that your actual name?
That's my actual on my stage name.
It's a very strong, because it reminds me of...
It's a strong name, yeah.
You know, like Dusty Rhodes or Ricochet, those like 1980s, 1990s DJs who make up their names.
No, Spin 102, no.
If your name is Seamus O'Reilly, it wouldn't have the same...
Pop. Yeah, maybe if I was Seamus O'Reilly, no offence to Seamus O'Reilly's out there, but I think I'd probably...
offended about 10,000 people.
Yeah, around. Look, I definitely... And I always...
Your name stands out. It's a memorable, kind of nice...
Yeah, it's good. It's short, it's sharp. And I did the Entrepreneur Experiment by Gary Fox because I was like, I'm playing around with the branding to kind of understand, right, well, I don't want it just be the Gary Fox podcast because, again, Ireland people cut you to pieces. And also, it couldn't go beyond
Gary
me.
Fox is a knob.
Yeah, but you know, he's a podcast talking about himself.
Bit of Irish begrudgery. Like,
100%, right? So I was like, right, I want a brand that's strong. I'm big on branding. I'm big on kind of like making sure that it can be multiple things. I was like, right, the Entrepreneur Experiment. I wanted it to like, I kind of understood. I watched a lot of YouTube. I could kind of understand what way content was going. You need to be memorable. You need to like, you definitely need a personal brand, but you also need a brand probably around you that kind of signifies what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of played around with it. But again, it's like anything I've done well in life. I kind of like decided on it and executed on it fast. Like the brand scheme is the Man United colours. Like that's how detailed I went. I was like, red, white, and black. That'll do. Perfect. Didn't have any big agency help me.
I mean, that brand isn't great at the moment.
I don't talk about that openly, but yeah.
This isn't going to...
It was an emotional decision, not a logical decision.
When you're talking about a lot of things going... personal challenges over COVID, Man United was obviously
mainly they were a large part of it. But I got someone on Upwork to design the first kind of couple of iterations of it and just went. Like the biggest thing is just go.
And when did you think, okay, this could be something that
during COVID
could be a career?
Yeah, during COVID, the numbers, like it was weird. The numbers went way down.
During COVID?
They weren't massive. Like at the start, so 2019, I remember look back, I must pull the figures, but I think in the first 7 months, we had 20,000 people listened total.
Okay.
And like you're going from like 3 listeners to 5 to 7 to 10. And you're like, oh, it's kind of going in the right direction.
The graph is
kind of going up that way. But it was wild because then when I had the property company, we had a spare office. So I was like, oh, I'll just convert that into a studio. But I remember reaching out to like the likes of Mark Little and stuff. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, holy shit. Mark Little.
Really?
I'll do it. Oh, yeah, class, come in. And I just got a couple of breaks just before COVID. And I was just learning how to interview people and how to kind of communicate with people well. And then that stopped. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess we'll do it remote then. Right. So I just had to learn totally different experience, totally different set of skills, totally different like dynamic. So it was during COVID, I was just like releasing more and more content. Just keep myself busy as well. I kind of wanted to be doing things. So you're going from working like 6 days a week, 12-hour days maybe, to just being at home all the time and just having all this time, all this energy to burn off. So I started doing remote interviews with people. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, right, we're not making any money from the business. I'll try to get a sponsor. So I remember I just said it on the podcast one day. I was like, hey, we're now accepting sponsors. You know, you kind of make it sound all slick, like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. You're
like, oh, we're now accepting sponsors. If you want to sponsor next season of the podcast.
Very limited opportunity to get on board as a sponsor.
It's selling out fast. Get
super
act
exclusive.
Now, you know, limited availability, all that kind of stuff. But again, I didn't know what I was doing.
That's
like,
where we unveil you as a sponsor of the Growing Further podcast.
Yes. By Gary Fox.
Segue.
So like I was just doing them. Like I didn't know what I was doing. So I did the first probably 60 podcasts. I just released them. And I was like, yeah, there's another one. There's another one. And then I can't remember who said it to me. Someone said, oh, do seasons. Because then you can have sponsorships and you can talk about having a season. And it's bookended, there's a start and a stop. And I was like, yeah, I like that. That makes sense. So
Gives you flow.
Just learned. I was like, yeah, it makes more sense to do seasons. So you can do 8 in a season. So I was like, right, we're going to do seasons now and we're going to have a sponsor. And Kiri's, Brendan and the crew there, they were like, yeah, here, we'll sponsor you. I was like, savage. They're like, we love the pod.
Motors.
Yeah, Kiri's Motors, yeah. So Carstore.ie, Kiri's, BYD, like they come on board and they were great. They were the first tipping point of like, okay.
Could be, if I can get one, I can get 10 more.
Well, yeah, but more so kind of go, there is a business model here. I
Yeah.
understand this now. And again, you're learning, right? You're learning what is the business model? What does it look like? What do I do? How can I make sure it works for them? I always thought of it from the other way around. I was like, right, because being a business owner, I'm like, right, what I need is to work for me. So I'm making sure that I was delivering for them. And I kind of went from there then. We just started doing more and more because people, again, I said the listenership dropped dramatically. And I was like, oh.
Sorry, it dropped when COVID
dropped
kicked off?
dramatically.
Okay.
And I was like,
People weren't commuting or what?
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. People weren't commuting. It took me probably a month to figure that out. So only when a friend of mine was like, oh, how's the podcast going? I'm like, you used to listen every week and you used to text me about the podcast. He's like,
text me weeks.
My commute's gone. He's like, my commute is I walk down the stairs, I turn on an espresso machine, walk to my desk. That's my commute.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't go out anymore. I'm like, shit, right. But I never thought about quitting, or I never thought I was like, I just going to keep going.
Well, I guess after a few weeks, people got sick of talking to their families, so they wanted to stick the
dog walking. Dog walking saved my career. Every dog in Ireland listens to my podcast.
There's a direct correlation in the boom of puppy farms and
it's directly linked to the entrepreneur experiment. It's just people after the first turmoil of the first kind of 4 weeks. We need routine, right? We're humans. We need routine. So after the first turmoil of the 4 weeks, people were back, kind of like walking or running or doing whatever, and they would listen to the pods. So it started to grow back up. And then conversely, people had all this free time. So people I probably wouldn't have got before were like, yeah, I'd love to chat to someone.
Yeah.
They were happy to do it. They were like, yeah, that sounds great. And it's interesting. There was a real like goodwill movement. People were very supportive of each other.
Yeah.
Do you remember that period, golden period where people were sound, where everyone was like, yeah, let's do it together. We're all in this together, you know? I kind of rode the wave on that. People were like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Let's help people. Let's kind of talk about it. There was definitely I thought there was an importance there to understanding what other business owners were going through because it was super lonely. I remember sitting, I had a home office, and I remember sitting and I kind of sit back because you had fuck all work to do. So you'd be sitting back with your feet up kind of going, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I was like, if I'm sitting here, there must be hundreds of other people around the country. So I kind of deliberately started pumping out more content going, right, let's talk about it. And I did a podcast. It was one of my most popular podcasts ever where I just literally sat down on my own. I remember vividly doing it. I just sat down at the desk. I kind of leaned in, pressed record, and I talked about the worst year of my life.
Really?
I was like, this has been the worst year of my life.
You opened up.
For these reasons. And it just unleashed this like wave. People were like, yes, thank you. I thought it was me. I thought I wasn't doing it right. I thought I was making a mistake. I thought like it was only me that was struggling to having to let people go, or it was only me that couldn't figure out what the future would be. And that was really important. That taught me a lot as well about kind of how vulnerable you are, but also like how you communicate and tell stories to people. You know, how you have to be
talking about
authentic.
authenticity. Yeah.
Authenticity. You have to be totally authentic, like, and just be living the brand, because if you're not, people see through it very quickly, and it doesn't serve anybody. Like you coming on and being really unauthentic and going, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. A lot of people do that. They pretend like this front, whereas the best episode I've ever had have always been people coming on going, this was really going to tell you now. This is what really happens.
Not to compare you with Liam Gallagher, but I'm going to compare you to Liam Gallagher. There was an interesting podcast I listened to about the hullabaloo with the Oasis gig, and there's a huge following amongst teenage girls for Oasis, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, like Gen Z have a follow, and it's that authenticity to think, oh, these guys came through pre-social media, pre-internet, did it through clubs and did it the hard way. And look at Liam Gallagher, he says whatever he wants, gets away with it, and he's just so authentic. And I'm sure there's a bit of an act when it comes to Gallagher as well, but a lot of that's probably true. He says what's on his head, on his mind. Doesn't care if he gets in trouble or not. Really, probably doesn't care what a lot of people think. But that younger generation come through with social media from when they first got a smartphone.
Yeah, it's all very manufactured.
They're hungry for that kind of.
For sure. Look, we all want
an interesting kind of a generational.
That's really the connection
there.
between him and there. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, there definitely is. People crave authenticity. They crave to be heard and crave to kind of go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling too. So it did teach me a lot. It taught me a lot about communication and just the importance of and it shaped how I interview people. It shaped how I think about the podcast.
As you meet someone, do many of them have handlers trying to tell them PR people, tell them what they say?
I've had a few.
Yeah.
I've had a few.
How do you?
I just don't do it. I had probably the most awkward situation in a long time recently, where a handler turned up with someone just out of the blue.
Right.
What are you doing here? It was super.
By handler, you mean like PA or like a PR person?
PR person.
Okay.
PR person turned up with them. Like my podcast, if you've listened to it once, it's exactly like this, right? We sit down, we chat. It's very open, very authentic. There's no trick questions. I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to get scandalous clips of you. I'm just out to hear your story.
I've got a load of zingers coming out.
Yeah, tell me about. I looked up your company accounts and this. Trying
to get you cancelled.
It's not about that at all. It's just about telling the authentic story, and that comes back from COVID. Just telling your authentic story, just letting the founder talk, because that's what people connect to.
Every so often, you do these things where you go through, is it monthly or quarterly? You go through your stats, your listens, and different platforms and stuff. And why do you do that? Does that give you that authenticity you're talking about, or
a couple of things?
Keep you honest, or
keeps me honest.
I don't think anyone else does that, do they?
No, it keeps me honest. It's an accountability thing. I also was just kind of sick of people pretending. I hate when people are just pretending online, because it gives unrealistic expectations and it makes things seem like either really inaccessible or people gatekeep as well. I hate when people gatekeep.
What do you mean by gatekeep?
Pull the ladder up behind them.
Right. Okay.
So when people are successful.
If you were gatekeeping, you wouldn't have come onto this podcast.
Precisely.
Not that we're
but exactly. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, is that you wouldn't pay it forward. You wouldn't kind of go, oh yeah, look, this is what I learned coming up. That kind of for me to win, you've to lose mentality.
Yeah,
that old school mentality. I just hate when I see people do that, because there's no need. The world is big enough, especially the world of media is big enough. There's always loads more listeners. So I just want people to kind of go, look, it's quite attainable. This is what I've done. You can look at my stats for the last 3-4 years. It is hard though. It is hard, and it is getting harder, because you do have kind of months where you plateau and things like that, and you're like, oh. But I always try use it then as a learning experience for me as well. I don't just go, oh, this month we're up 2 million and blah, it's great, happy days. I kind of go, yeah, this is what's happening. This is what I think is happening underneath that.
Yeah.
I'll always try pick it apart and go, I think this is happening because short form video is really taking off. I'm going to double down on short form video. And if anyone's been following me for the last couple of years, they'll see I've been talking about short form video for the last couple of years, going, this is starting to work. After COVID, I came back out and I was like, right, I'm going to go at this now. I'm going to go at it properly. I made the decision. I was kind of dabbling in property still. I was kind of dabbling in a new property venture with tiny homes, and I was kind of half in and half out.
Right.
I was kept dabbling. I kind of wasn't sure. So after COVID, I was like, right, I'm going to get a videographer. I'm going to work with him, and we're going to do proper sit downs like this, because I did the remotes and they're hard going. And I was so jaded with them. As
in hard to get a decent conversation, or hard to get the listeners?
Yeah, there was fatigue. There was definitely fatigue of Zoom calls.
Yeah.
People didn't want more Zoom calls.
Yeah.
People didn't want to watch Zoom calls in their spare time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing being on a Zoom call, another thing watching a Zoom call on a screen that you're not even
so
part of.
uninteresting. And the crack is you miss the body language, what the lads saying, how are they sitting, where are they sitting? Oh, they look like they're having a bit of crack. And I said, right, I'm going to just hone this craft. I'm going to figure out how this works and do it better. And so I was adamant about meeting people in person, having coffee with them, getting to know them a little bit. And then making a better conversation from that. So just studying the craft, learning the craft. How do you become a better communicator, and making sure then that comes across in the interview.
Yeah. How do you work it when someone is trying to be a bit guarded, or they're not, the there's just not a.
I'll break them. I'll break them after 20 minutes. That's my mark.
Yeah.
20 minutes. I give them 20 minutes dancing around, and then we'll get to the big thing. Yes, usually. And there's a real difference between if someone listens and they get the vibe and they know what they're coming into, and we just literally vibe like this straight away. Sometimes they come in, they might be doing it because their PR person said, or their marketing person said, or someone like, oh, it's really good exposure for you, blah, blah, blah. And as the pods got much bigger, you do get a lot more inbounds. So you get a lot of people pitched to you.
Right.
So you have to be very careful and why are they getting pitched? What's the angle? And there's a dance to be done, right? There is a dance to be done in terms of they're coming on at a certain time, talk about a certain thing. The best ones I have are when people come on, I've probably pursued them for quite a while.
Right.
And then they're like, ask me anything.
Okay.
You've got me now. You've finally worn me down. Let's go. And like people like John Purdy, Barry Napier, Choupy, people like that who are just, they've been there, they've done it, they want to give back, and they're quite open.
Okay.
They're not kind of like,
not afraid of
hold
anything.
them back.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've had one 3 months ago that just complete car crash, start to finish. There was a handler with them.
And do you release that? Or?
No.
Yeah, already?
No, didn't release it. It was bad from the start. It was my own issue though from not having fully due diligence. I usually get 3 to 4 references from people who know them and stuff. He'd been in like media previously, so I kind of took that. It was a mistake. I didn't follow my process. My process is I usually text people and go, hey, what's the story, David? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Hadn't done that. On the morning of the podcast, went downstairs, met him. I was like, oh, what coffee do you want? Flat white, whatever, grand. So I got the coffee walking back. As we were walking back, this person came against us and they were like, oh, morning, Gary. I was like, hey, how are you? And I walked past them. So I thought they knew me from upstairs from the building, because the building has a load of stuff on. So I walked past them and they kind of like looked back and just started like walking behind us. And I was like, you all right? And, oh, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so.
Ex-agency.
Yeah. Insert company here. And I was like, all right. I was like, what are you doing here? Oh, I thought I'd be on hand just in case, help out and, help the interview flow. And I was like, no. Mm-hmm. So we got to the third floor. By the time we got to the third floor, I decided I need to cut that straight away. So I sent your man on his way over to sit down, and I just said to the person, I was like, look, you can't be here. That's not the process. I said, your company should know that. They've worked with me quite a bit. They should know that it's not. I can't have you sitting there beside them telling them what to say. It's not a print interview. Like some of them think in a print interview, the journalists be asking them questions. They can be sitting there going, oh no, we're not going to talk about that. If you're not able to come on and have an honest conversation, then there's something not right.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a turkey. It turned out to be a terrible interview.
Really, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which you knew as soon as you met the handler?
Oh, my spidey senses were tingling.
Yeah.
That I was like, because anytime that happens, it's never been a good outcome.
So you talk a lot about, we've talked a lot about this personal branding thing, and you did a really good session at a Growing Further retreat we did back in the summer. What is personal branding? Why is it important? Who's it important for?
Personal branding, it's important for everybody now. I don't care. I used to be more so, I used to think of it for founders in terms of, I think founder-led companies are getting to be more and more important. But I think no matter if you're working at a big company, a small company, you're a founder, you're not a founder, you're an employee, you're not an employee, I think it's important because we're now in the age of AI, which is changing everything. And I hate to be the person that talks about AI because it's just the most overused buzzword at the minute. But there's so much content.
It's a buzzword, isn't it?
But it is, but it's all people can talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's going to solve everything. Oh, blah, blah, blah. It will change the world, but you have to understand how it's going to change for you. What it is going to do in my world is going to unleash this torrent of media, this torrent of content. And it's all going to be quite generic, and it'll all be really smart and really interesting and probably correct. But people don't connect with that. They connect with the people. Like I've seen it. I've got 427 examples of this, of episodes, and I know what works and what doesn't. I've seen what works and what doesn't. What works is powerful personal narrative. That's what people connect with. They don't connect. You can have the most smartest person in the world on. And they can be the best person in like finance or property or marketing or green tech or whatever. They can be the most smartest person in the world. But if they're not an authentically interesting person, the episode will be okay.
And are you talking about charisma, or is it different than that?
It's
because not everyone's charismatic.
No, not everyone's charismatic. It does help if you are, but it definitely is more about the story. Are you interested?
Ruben Amarin gets away with murder, they say, because he's charismatic. Got great hair.
I trust Ruben. I do. But you need it though. You see that though. Like Ten Hag had no charisma.
Yeah.
Sorry to go on a football tangent here if you're not into football, but Ten Hag had no charisma.
Yeah.
He just dour, dead. And like he was dead man walking from about 12 months in because the media turned against him.
Yeah.
Because he had no charisma. There was no sound bites, he wasn't good crack.
Yeah.
Whereas like, it's not just about charisma though, are you an interesting person?
Yeah.
Do you have interesting stuff to say? Because people's time, I always say, people are like, who are you competing with? I'm like, is it Diary of a CEO? Is it Joe Rogan? Is it RT? I'm like, it's everybody and everything. It's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's like a book, it's a movie, it's Netflix, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to listen to 50 podcasts in a week. You're going to listen to 2 to 3, and you're going to be on a rotation with those 2 to 3. So I have to.
It's hard to break into that.
It is hard to break into
cabal,
it. Yeah, it's super hard. Podcasts are the easiest thing in the world to start and the hardest thing in the world to grow.
Yeah.
Because the discovery engine is pretty poor. Again, that's why I lean so hard into social. So it's personal
that's
story.
that link between that personal branding, the short-term video you kind of talked about.
That's the access, right? What you talk about is the personal branding and your story. That's people connect with people. I was literally talking to someone about this morning. I was like, why do people care about you? Why do people give a shit about you? She was like,
that's a deep question.
She goes, why? I was like, no, I mean that genuinely. Like, why do people care? Like, why are people scrolling Instagram and going, oh, there she is. Deadly. Cool. Because people want to connect with that person. Maybe she's really funny. Maybe she's really interesting. Maybe she's doing some like mad stuff. Like she's going to compete in some mad event. But what is it, the hook? What's the hook that's getting people to watch? Yeah. And it usually comes back to personal story. So personal branding is so important because I was telling you this off camera, like there's all these fake employees springing up now. People are able to deep fake people. So like they're able to just create people out of thin air. Literally create them out of thin air. So it's like, oh yeah, Seamus O'Reilly from Longford, but he's actually living in Italy now, and they fake all the VPNs. So you literally hire a fake person, and it's one person who has 10 different jobs. There was the famous story of the guy in San Francisco. He was working for about 6 different tech companies at the same time from India. So like this is the world we're stepping into now, whereas like if people go, oh yeah, I know Gary, yeah, I really like his podcast. And I always think of like every single episode I do is another brick in the wall. It's another bit of credibility, another bit of social proof. Going, okay, yeah, he's done this for 6 years. He knows what he's doing. Like, how are you able to establish? Because when you think about even the hiring process, it's mad. You've hired lots of people. Like, it's tricky. It's tricky to get the right person. What have they done? Anyone can be good in an interview.
CV can look great.
CV can look great. Nothing beats like consistency. Nothing beats having a portfolio to kind of go. It used to be just like mainly entrepreneurs or creatives would have like a portfolio career whereby they might have started and sold a company and then they moved on to company 2 and 3 and 4. Whereas it used to be like people work in one company for like 30 years and they didn't really have that urgency or that need to be a brand.
Yeah.
Whereas now people are averaging moving on every 18 months to 2 years. So if you're trying to move on every 2 years.
14 years of a green man this week, so I'm a bad example.
You're a terrible example. You may have missed a
I'm a dinosaur.
But it's rare, right?
Yeah.
That's rare in the modern world.
Very
like that.
rare, yeah.
If you look at LinkedIn, most people are moving on and I'm delighted to announce I'm joining the rock stars at XYZ group, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for all the memories, blah, blah, blah. You just especially in tech.
And in fairness, my job has changed probably internally every kind of 2 to 3 years, I guess.
You're a survivor.
I'm a evolver.
Yeah. Well, it's not the strongest that survive; it's the ones that are willing to adapt. Yeah. But that's just
it's a growing company, I guess, and it's
growing further. Yes,
that's it.
Nicely done. You're on brand.
Well, I wish that was intentional.
Yeah, but personal branding is so important, and it's going to get more and more and more important. That is how you're going to stand
because
out
of that
in the
noise.
World. Yes, the noise. We live in a super noisy world. Social media is so noisy, and the algorithms are so crazy that to break through, especially for brands. That's why I think founder-led companies are becoming more and more important. It's not...
Now, when you talk about founder-led companies, so if you're, I don't know, we'll use Seamus O'Reilly again, he's setting up his own electrical business. He's done an apprenticeship and has a small electrical business. Do you think it's as important for someone like that? Or
that's how it's always been for local business.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get to David, he's sound man. That's personal branding.
Yeah.
That was personal branding at the lowest form. The local community, the local town. Hey, when you move in somewhere, hey, who do you recommend? Who's a good plumber? Oh, Gary sound. Get him. He might be the best, but he's sound. First, David's good, but he's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You're like, Grant, cool. That's personal branding. It's what It's your reputation is what people say when you're not.
But
in
then,
the room.
do you think it's imperative for something like that, with that type of business, the kind of local word of mouth business, to be online, have that presence?
100%.
Yeah.
I have to be. I still find it funny when people go, "Oh no, I don't have to be that because I'm this." Great when things are good, but like, how do you find anything? Maybe me and you slightly different, but like Gen Z coming up, how do they look for something? Straight to the phone.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like, I'm gonna ring my mate. First of all, they're not gonna ring anyone. Right? They might snap, or they might Discord someone going, how do I find a plumber?
They would,
but in reality,
to walk over a bed of nails and call someone in person.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to take this into account. This is what I think people are missing. Yeah, it's grand for this generation. We're flat to the mat and blah, blah, blah. We're at full employment. But when you have Gen Z, our generation coming up, who've grown up on Deliveroo, who've grown up on Uber Eats, who've grown up on Netflix, the on-demand economy, where it's just like, beep, boop, two touches of a button to get what they want. If you're not the company providing that, slowly but surely you'll start to lose market share, you'll start to lose ground. I think it's imperative that modern companies, if you're setting up now in 2025, I think you have to think digital first. You have to think, how are people going to find me? And happy days, great. Word of mouth will probably get your first 100 customers. But if you look at like the big companies, to flip it completely the other way, it's not an accident that Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Musk, it's not an accident that they're going on podcasts. It's not an accident that they're the most talked about people in the world. They could have hid behind Amazon. They could have hid behind Meta. They could have hid behind that. But they're not.
They're synonymous
with their companies. Forward. Yeah. Because people are fascinated by people. Love them or hate them. People hate Musk. They hate most of them, to be fair. They hate billionaires in general. But like, they have an opinion. Whereas if you go back, who was the founder of Nokia? Who was running Nokia in the 1990s?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Times have changed. Times have fundamentally changed.
It's that cult of personality.
Yeah. Precisely. And that is trickling down. Like, there's always like, what's the phrase? What the nerds do on the weekends, the mass population will do in 10 years. It's that thing of like, what are the nerds into now? What are the hyper nerds into now? Like, it was biohacking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, he's wearing this thing on his wrist. Mental. He's tracking stuff. Mad.
He's a cyborg.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so you always have to be looking ahead going, well, what are these people who have all the money in the world and all the access to power and all the access to information? What are they doing? Chances are they probably knew a bit more than me knew.
Yeah. You come across all kinds of businesses. What you talked about, you've deep fascination with real estate, but what are the ones that kind of get you excited, or what buzzes you up?
Oh, it buzzes me up. It's the founder. It's always the founder. It's the person. It's the person behind it. Like when I meet a founder, I'm like, oh, I don't care what you're doing, but I'm just going to back you. It's always, I've only made 2 investments out of the podcast. As the podcast grows, I'll probably do more. But I've only made 2 investments out of the podcast, and neither of them were about the idea. They were just about the people.
Okay.
I was like, whatever. Because it'll change.
Yeah.
Like, you know this.
The person's going to succeed no matter what they do. It mightn't be this, but it'll be
something. But it'll be something.
Yeah.
You know, and I got pattern recognition of talking to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. You kind of go, right, the idea will change. Things will shift. The world is fast. But it's the people. It's the people I always look at and go, because I've met so many that you're like, you can see the traits now. You can just go, yeah. No.
And what are those traits?
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Apart from authenticity.
I teed that up lovely.
Yeah.
It's resilience.
Just a good interviewer, Gary. You learn from the best.
You learn from the best.
Yeah.
It's that resilience. It's that ability to see the world slightly differently, to kind of go, they're not just conforming and trying to pick on the hot new thing. Like, I get so many messages a week, which is great because it shows the podcast is good. But a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to build an app for this. And you're like, I think you're just doing that because that's what you've seen people do.
Right.
Whereas these people that I'm interested in, they just see the world slightly different. They're willing to be contrarian, they're willing to be wrong, and they're willing to experiment. Like, I do talk about this all the time, but that is what good business is. It's these little try. And they've often done 10 different things. Like, side hustle is just random stuff. You're like, why'd you do that? I just thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm in. I'm in.
They're not just thinking about the dollar signs.
No, they follow the curiosity. The best ones are curious. So you asked me for some traits, so I'll be succinct. Resilience, number 1. Curiosity, number 2. They're curious. Like when people come into the studio with me, And even if they're really successful, the people that fascinate me are like, they're asking me questions going, so what's the story here? What's the story with these cameras? And where do you put this out? And how does it work? And how do you make money? You know, I love people that are just curious, because that's how I am. I'm just wired to be interested in that's why I do the job, right? I get paid to be curious.
Yeah, yeah.
So the best people I find, because they're buzzing, like I've met some of these people and their wealth is bananas, but they're buzzing off this little trade they did at the weekend.
Yeah,
I spotted this at the weekend and I just felt there was something about that company. I just thought the CEO was going to come back. I had this guy explain this to me, like we're having some food and he was explaining this little trade he'd done. The man's got more money than God, but he was just buzzing off that little, because they love playing the game.
Yeah.
They love playing the game.
Little
That's
stroke.
kind of the third thing, is they love playing the game.
Yeah.
They love being in the game.
Get the energy from it.
They're buzzed off just being in the game. A lot of people, I hate the martyr complex. I hate got my own business. It's very hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy then. Yes, working for yourself is unbelievably hard. No shit, Sherlock. It's extremely tough. But if you keep propagating that, that's all you think about.
Yeah,
So I avoid those people like the plague. I'm like, yeah, it's really tough, but like, that's a choice.
You did a really good episode recently with Bobby Kerr, Irish Dragon's Den, and in the kind of all sorts of business with coffee businesses. I suppose where he made his name, but he kind of talked about that a lot. He's really interesting, but kind of talked about not sacrificing too much of yourself. That people are sometimes too tied up and wrapped up in the business and neglect other parts of their life and stuff, which I thought he kind of talked about that in a nice way. And he obviously went through cancer battle and stuff.
Yeah.
And made his exit after that. But I suppose trying to find that separation, well, maybe not separation is not the right word, but not to be too tightly define yourself to the success of the business, because that could lead to stress.
It's tough, and I've kind of gone over and back on this, because during COVID,
Sorry, it kind of feeds into that whole personal branding thing. I mean, what
do you stand for?
Where do you start and the business ends, or vice versa? You know?
And I've kind of gone over and back on this, and I still am, to be honest. Like I'm always trying to learn. I'm never trying to be stuck with what's true today is true tomorrow. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm not flip-flopping, but I'm just keeping ahead and being true to what I believe. So during COVID, I focused a lot on, again, the body. I focused on kind of like looking after myself, and then the brain, just minding my brain, just minding kind of like coming back from that mentally challenging time, just a little bit more wiser, better equipped to kind of understand, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so many people I've met are consumed by it, because it's just all they do.
You are your business, really. I mean, so you put yourself out there on a weekly basis. Do you find that tough? Do you ever get tired of that? Or do you quite enjoy it?
It's a price to pay. There's a price for success, and you have to figure out what that is and be willing to pay it. There's no doubt about that. There's always a price.
Are you at the point where you get recognised out in the street? Do people
it's
come
cool.
up to you?
I still love it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. It's great, because to me that means it's reaching people beyond the network, beyond the usual people. It's gas, like it really is. But it's
what kind
really,
of settings now? Like in
all over the place, really. To be fair, like
street.
cafes. I was having lunch yesterday, and this guy came over. He goes, "Oh, I just wanted to say hi. I own this place, and I saw you come in. I said I want to come down and say I love the pod." And it's nice, because what I do generally is for the better. It's for the good of people. Like it's the content I'm putting out is educational. Hopefully, it's a bit of fun. It's trying to help people. So it gives me a buzz. Like it's not like, you know, you're putting out negative content or you're feeding off sensationalism and stuff like that. It's true to who I am, and then as a result of that, it's kind of fun when you meet people. People are like, oh, that was kind of cool. There is a slight cost in terms of like the social media stuff. Like social media is a strange place. It's a very odd place. So
people saying not nice things about you.
Yeah, but also like the guests and stuff. You're like, oh, they didn't ask for that. You know, they came on the pod, but they didn't ask to get abused by some user 7777 on TikTok.
Is there a lot of that out there?
On TikTok, yeah.
Yeah.
TikTok's very odd.
Is
very
it?
odd
Yeah,
platform.
I'm not a TikToker.
Very odd. Incredible in terms of reach. Like the brand recognition I've got off TikTok is huge. Like people from every walk of life. Like there's people, you know, you kind of have your routines, coffee shops you go to or restaurants you go to, and like I go back to the same place. If I get on with the people, I'll always go back to the same place. I'll go out of my way to go back to them. And I was going to Dubray's on Grafton Street for years, and there was a lovely person working there. I'd be chatting away to her all the time. And then like a couple of months ago, she goes, "You're all over my TikTok." I had no idea what you did. I was like, that's class.
Yeah,
because then
yeah.
it's beyond just business owners, and it's beyond, because then her partner was starting his own business.
Okay.
But it had fed into her feed from his feed. That was really cool, because then you're beyond just the normal reach. But yeah, TikTok is a very odd platform, but the leverage it gives you is huge, because it's a new platform. It's shoving content hard. It's making things quite viral. So like in the last month, we did 2 million impressions on Instagram and 1.4 on TikTok.
Okay.
It's big. Like that's a lot of people seeing your content, your face, your guests, your brand.
And for people not in the know, what are the differences between the platforms, kind of audience-wise? Are you reaching different people? Different ages?
There's probably a lot of overlap, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's, like Instagram is the one, like it's very established, very high value audience. Like when I put stuff out on Instagram, people will engage and interact, and it can drive action. As in, like if you're a brand, or if you're, trying to sell out an event, like I'm doing an event now in Sugar Club on November 30th. When I'm promoting that, a lot of it goes through Instagram, because that's an engaged audience.
Right.
They're tuned in. Email as well.
TikTok's more
TikTok
fleeting.
is just more kind of like 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. So it's just more for brand recognition. So that's how I think of them. TikTok is more brand recognition,
Right.
and
It's like
virality.
Advertising hoarding on a bus site or
Pretty much.
bus stop.
Yeah, exactly. But no one's kind of go, oh, buy now. Now, in fairness, there's different. It's different for different people.
Yeah.
TikTok for beauty is huge. Live shopping at the minute on TikTok is astronomical
Really, yeah.
for the beauty sector. Like I'm a niche business podcast. I reach a lot of people, but I don't drive action there. For me, it's a brand building platform. So it really depends on what niche you're in. I'm always very careful with absolutes, because it can be totally different depending on what brand you're in and what your outcome is.
Okay. You talked about, kind of circle back to what you talked about before, about in your property business, you were, in hindsight, probably a bit concentrated. And are you concentrated now? And what are you doing to...
Yeah, I am. If I stop, the podcast stops.
Yeah.
So I am. Like I do a lot of spin-off stuff in terms of like, work with companies, speaking, hosting, all that kind of stuff. But I am trying to like diverse that out in terms of like events now. So doing more. So we're doing a retreat in 2 weeks with founders. We're doing the Sugar Club on November 30th, which will be a live podcast. And then I'm going to have a spin-off podcast, which launches probably in the new year. And then we're also looking at like becoming a broader media company, producing content for other people. I think that's probably the next route we'll take. But again, I've been looking at it all year, different types of like monetization avenues. And events is probably the most logical one.
And how do you make money? I mean, sponsorship, a big
Sponsorship,
thing.
Yeah, sponsorship is probably 80%.
And how do you find the sponsors? You talked about...
Inbound.
You just...
I use inbound. Like
after Kiri's answered your clarion call the first time.
Well, I was like, right, well, that worked once. Let's see if it works again. It did. It worked again. It did. And again, it's building relationships over time and just being yourself over time. People go, yeah, I like that style. I like that content. I like the way he is. And it's a safe brand. I've built quite a safe brand, as in like, I'm not going to go off the wall and start talking about crazy stuff, which is the tendency. There's a real temptation for people just to go off the rails.
You're not a real flat earther.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you are.
It was an inside job, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a real tendency, and I've seen a lot over the last couple of years in terms of like, content can be funny. It can kind of skew people's reality. They forget what the real purpose is. They get obsessed with the views and the social media metrics. Whereas like I'm trying to build a brand, I'm trying to build a business and a brand.
Are they not the same, one and the same? No?
People get caught up in it. They kind of think they're a celebrity. They think that they're like this, oh, I have to like give my opinion on this, and I have to be that kind of person, and I have to be doing this, and I have to be doing that, and they'll do anything, and they'll put themselves out for anything, and they'll just be associated with anything, and they'll talk about anything, and then just destroys your brand, destroys your credibility. Like how many people have you seen in the last 3, 4, 5 years blow up, and then literally blow up? They get overnight fame in inverted commas online, and then just blow up. Because they can't handle it.
I beat the guy at the moment.
I beat the final boss. Perfect example.
Yeah.
He's having a good time. The Hawk to a girl 6 months ago. Like there's something every 3 to 6 months now. Yeah. And it used to be 15 minutes of fame. Now it's probably 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Because easy come, easy go. That's the way I think about it in terms of like building the brand and building the business. Like if it comes easy, it'll go easy.
Yeah.
Whereas like I've spent 6 years, been very deliberate and been very strategic, probably too much so. But I'd rather build something that's right with me, right with my personality, and also like I'm going to do this for next probably 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
just, I think a lot of people go, oh, my time is now. I have to cash out now.
But you have to be very consistent with it.
Exactly. Consistency is like the secret of content.
And I thought an interesting one that happened there recently that stuck out to me. You often splice up interesting clips and release them kind of months later, but there's the guy whose name escapes me now who's running for president.
Gareth Sheridan. Yes.
Yeah, Gareth Sheridan, exactly. Yeah. So how long ago did you interview him?
You noticed that. That's interesting. About 3 months ago, I guess.
3 months ago. Okay, so timing was fortuitous. And did you know at that stage he might be putting his hat in the ring?
No, I did not.
All right. You must have been rubbing your hands together.
He kept that under his hat.
Yeah.
That's a bizarre one.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on there. That's a strange one. I didn't know. No, I didn't know. To be honest, I didn't know anything about
campaign
Gareth.
manager.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Gareth. A friend of mine was doing his PR, and he was like, "Oh, I have a really good guy for you. He's come back from the States. He's done really well over there." I was like, "Oh, cool. Send him on." So he sent all his details. I was like, "Oh, listed on the NASDAQ. Nice."
Yeah.
We had a good chat. It was one of those businesses. So I was like, "Right, I don't fully grasp it, but it's a pretty interesting story."
Yeah.
He'd worked as an Uber driver when he was trying to get the business off the ground. That kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah. That's cool, fair play. And then, like literally a few months later, he decides he's running for president. So I was on to Laura and I was like, get those clips ready. We're going. Because now it's topical again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's the beauty of content, though. It is evergreen. And I'm very deliberate to make sure the content is evergreen, that it's not going to go stale a week later. I don't like this week in the news, blah, 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 because that's only relevant for like 24 hours maybe. And then you're gone. Content is so hard to do that if you're going to do it, make sure that it's valuable and make sure it can last in a year's time. Like what's really interesting about my podcast is it's a long tail. So like, yeah, my new ones will spike. Like, so we get like maybe 8,000 or 10,000 listens on a brand new episode. But it's the long tail. It's where all the listeners are. So if let's say we're doing 150,000 downloads last month, it'll be spread right across the whole back catalogue.
Really?
So it's unusual. It's really unusual.
Do you've 430 something?
Yeah.
Is there someone listening to at least one of those each week, do you think?
Oh, gotcha.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, every day. I can see like just people listening back to episode 30, 40, 50
Really, yeah.
every day. Like you'll see the daily figures that like, there's 10 people here, 10 people here.
And do you know how many people listen to you religiously each week when
you can kind of see podcast is really interesting in that it's still a relatively new medium. So like Spotify have their stats, Apple have their stats, and then YouTube have their stats. And then you've kind of like all these hundreds of players that are just, people listening on their Alexa and all these different types of places, right? Podbean and Google Play and all that kind of stuff. So I can see by platform, if you know what I mean. I can see by Spotify and by Apple. And then I've just literally moved on to a brand new platform that's purpose built for podcasts. It sucks everything in. Whereas before I was kind of relying on pulling it from each individual place.
Okay. What are the interesting kind of evolutions in the podcast you've kind of done or that you've done differently?
It's interesting.
Have you done stuff that just hasn't worked? And
I'm in the middle of an evolution right now. I think podcasting has had it's had two and it's about to enter a third, I think. So podcasting version 1 was audio only. I started my first podcast. I bought a Blue Yeti mic on Amazon. I set it up. I was living on a boat at the time. I remember vividly. I set it up. I plugged it into my laptop.
We'll come back to the boat later, but that sounds really interesting.
I plugged it into my laptop. There's a photo of me doing the first one, sitting on like a little stool with a pull-down table, and just me sitting there, just staring at the laptop, talking into the mic. And it was audio only, and that was fine, right? That was grand. So for the first... I don't know. First, maybe I must go back and check actually how many were audio only. Maybe the first 60, 70.
Okay.
Maybe more. That's how people listened. Podcast was just audio. And then during COVID, like Joe Rogan was always way ahead of the game. He'd always been doing video.
This clip I've seen circulating now of Joe Rogan. Is it Tom Green? Is that his name? His actor who was back in the day, and he had one of the first podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And Rogan was on it, and he's talking about the format.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how old this clip is.
I think it could be... That might be 15 years old.
Yeah.
Like those guys were at it before it even had a word.
And Rogan this is really cool, man. And he really ran with it.
Yeah, but that's what it takes though. That's what it takes to be successful is that level of going, and that's how I think about it. It's like, I'll just outwork everybody. That's how I think about it. Like I don't think I have massive natural talent in many areas, but I'll just outwork people. I'll go, right, I'll just outwork you. I'll just do more episodes than you. I'll just be more consistent than you. And over time I'll win. Because it's the same as business, right? It's the people who just stay in the game.
Yeah.
Don't do anything crazy. Don't get yourself knocked out of the game by over-leveraging yourself or doing something mental. If you can stay in the game, eventually you will win. So that's how I think about the podcasting. But to go back to your original question, podcasting version 1, audio only. Yeah. Podcasting version 2 came along in COVID, video and audio.
Okay.
So Rogan had already been doing it. I think suddenly there was this like wake up moment where people are like, podcasting is going to be a thing. So you had Chris Williamson, Steve Bartlett, those two people came and they just kind of upped the game. Everything was video, high quality like this. Me and you were sitting in a studio. Me and you were doing this 6 years ago. We probably would be in your office with just an audio mic.
Yeah.
You know, I remember doing them with I'd literally go to people's office with my backpack, one mic only. I'd plug it in the middle and I have it in the middle of the table and we'd be talking away.
Yeah.
Like that's mad. Like that's only 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Five and a half years ago. Whereas now it's like full studio production, multiple angles, 3 cameras, perfect audio. So that's where we are now because people expect that because you can't listen to bad audio.
Yeah.
Because I always ask people a couple of things.
It's a real killer, yeah.
It's killer. I ask people a couple of things when I meet them. If they're like, oh, I love the podcast. I'm like, where do you listen? How do you listen? How long do you listen for? Do you watch video? Because that informs how I produce things. Because if they're listening on AirPods, it's very different. It's very intimate. So when AirPods started getting really, really popular, I was like, this changes things again. Because now people just aren't listening on the laptops. They're listening right in here. And that's way more intimate.
There's a few friends of mine had I think it was the 2015 Rugby World Cup. They jumped from the WhatsApp group chat to they launched a podcast called Sports Beef. I think they did it for about a year. But I think the sound quality was one of the shout out to Sports Beef.
There you go.
They're at the point, they're just doing it for a bit of crack in the weekends, once a week, whatever. Do we invest in a bit of proper technology here or do we kick on with it and then? Because the sound quality was kind of killing it.
There's an evolution, right? And timing is everything, right? Timing is so important. Like you can have the best idea in the world, but the wrong timing. You know, if you're just too early, it's the same as been wrong. Like, so timing is so important. So if you come into an industry at the right time, like coming into podcasting now is kind of funny in that it's never been easier. You know, the equipment is easier to access. Podcast studios like this exist now. There's so much free software. Like there's editors coming out your eyeballs. I get pitched every day for like, let me edit your clips and let me do this, let me do that. So it's never been easier, but it's also never been more competitive.
Yeah.
So to get around to finally answering your question, there's a third evolution coming now, and I think it's social first podcasts.
Okay.
So we've had audio, we've had video, we've had long form video, and now I just see it's social first. So people are consuming it socially first.
TikTok, Instagram.
So it's like a sample menu.
Where does LinkedIn fit into all that?
I use LinkedIn every day. I try to post on LinkedIn every day.
Okay.
Because that's where my audience is.
Yeah.
You're not going to get viral growth on it. You're not going to get the 2 million you'll get off TikTok. You're not going to reach like brand new audiences because LinkedIn kind of chokes it off. But in terms of value audience, that's where my most valuable audience is. In terms of that's where all my sponsors come from. That's where I post those threads about this is what we've done this month. This is our figures. This is who we have on. I'll do a wrap up post literally after we finish here. I'll walk to the studio. I'll do a wrap up post going, that's the end of season 25. Thank you to so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And that'll list all them off and get loads of, like, that'll do really well. I did a post yesterday about the upcoming gig in Sugar Club and like 220 reactions, 33 comments and about, I think, 20,000 views.
Okay.
So like it moves, it definitely moves the needle.
Yeah.
So I think social first podcasting is going to be, your podcast will be sampled by people.
Yeah.
People will test and test. They might listen to
You might see in TikTok 4 or 5 times going.
4 or 5 times going, this Gary lad. Okay, I'll see. I like David, but I don't know this guy. Because people, to give people an hour and a half, it's a lot. Like people want to be sure it's going to be interesting, that they like you. Like likability is big. Like likability is a huge thing. Establishing credibility fast with a guest is huge. And then just, are they sound?
Yeah.
I've had people go, oh, Gar, couldn't handle your man. He was just painful.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't have to sit with him for 3 hours. So, there's all that.
You got to press the stop button.
Yeah, there's all that kind of stuff to it. So, but a social first podcast, I have that written up on my office, on my wall, going, what does a social first podcast look like? Because I had someone come up to me at a conference He's like, oh, Gary, I had to come over and say hello. I'm like the biggest fan of your podcast. I just love it. We started our business because after listening to one of your podcasts, I just said I had to start my own business. I was like, oh, my head was just swelling. And the more he went on, the more
Chest puffed out.
I was
yeah.
like deadly. So I'm straight into like market research mode going, okay, cool. What guests have you enjoyed? Where do you listen? How do you listen? He goes, listen. No, TikTok.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean TikTok? He's like, that's where you've heard about it first. He goes, no, I listen on TikTok. And I was like, what do you mean you listen on TikTok? He goes, I just consume every single clip you put out. I was like, have you ever listened to an episode? No.
Oh, God, no.
And he was obsessed with it. Like,
Really?
He
Yeah.
was obsessed with the podcast, but he hadn't made the move over to long form audio because obviously that's how he consumed. And going back to the point I made earlier about we're a generation who are used to like on demand, they're used to short, they're used to sharp, they're used to quick. So I was like, right, I'm doubling down on clips. Put 2 clips out every day now. I'm going to up that to 4, up that to 6, because that's where people are. Where are people spending their time?
And how do you ensure that quality over quantity, if you know what I mean? How do you make sure you're not flooding the field?
If I can't get 20 clips out of an hour and a half, I have done a good job in the interview.
20 clip. And by clip, you mean?
30 to 60 seconds to 90 seconds.
Okay.
Like if I can't get someone to give me 20 interesting insights, and there's a little secret, which I think you've learned, is the quickfire round. That's the secret. The secret is, because I was doing it and we were breaking our hearts in the edit.
Yeah.
So we were doing it. And the podcast, let's say we recorded for an hour and a half. The edit might be taking 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Because you're going through, it's funny. People ask me, so yeah, the podcast, this is your main thing, is it?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it is, yeah. They're like, so, what do you do the rest of the month?
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't just fall out of the can perfect.
Don't
Like,
just do an hour and 10 minutes.
don't just
whatever.
bang it out. And like, again, we're developing systems. Luckily enough, I've more people working with me now, but like there's an art to getting good answers. There's an art to being able to communicate well, to ask the right question and then shut up. That's the big thing, is just ask the right question and then shut up and just let people answer.
That was me shutting up.
That was you shutting up. Okay, you're turning it back on me. But in terms of like, if I can't get 20 to 25 clips from an hour and a half episode, and I've probably made the episodes longer. They used to be 60 minutes. Some of them go out to like an hour and a half, 2 hours now.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours is a lot of content.
It's a big
so
commitment, yeah.
it's kind of 80-20 now in terms of like 20% is for like the super fans who will sit down and listen to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the 80% then is for social.
Really? Yeah. Is that split?
Yeah, probably. So like, it's probably even higher, to be fair. What I said earlier, 2 million on Insta last month, 1.4 on TikTok. So it's what, 3.5, add in the rest of them, probably 3.5 to 3.6, and then we did 150,000.
If you have an hour long form episode, let's say, do you know the average amount of listen time for each person?
It varies in each one.
Yeah.
So like most people, because like if you think how I listen to a podcast, on the way in here, I was listening to the overlap. I stopped it twice. I listened to 10 minutes. I got diesel. I listened to 10 more minutes. I got breakfast. And then I listened on the way into the car park. So I listened to probably that 3 more times again going home.
Yeah.
So the data still isn't right. You can get kind of skewed metrics.
Yeah.
So I can look at it, but I'll be honest, I don't over leverage on that stuff.
Is it all about downloads or listening time? What's more important to you?
Kind of the same thing in terms of like, so it's over. If you listen to, again, they rank them differently. So again, on Spotify, I think it's anything over 60 seconds is a download. Yeah. Download, listen. Do you know what I mean? I use them interchangeably. Download and listen. Kind of over 60 seconds.
Okay.
So I don't obsess about that, because I think you can major in the minor. You can get obsessed by the small details and miss the big picture. My thing is, did you put out the best possible quality episode you did on a Thursday?
Yeah.
If yes, good. That's 80%. Then the 20% is the good social, the good thumbnail, the good title, the good tag.
Okay.
And obviously I'll do deep dives. So like we're at the end of the season now. I'll go into the weeds and I'll look at each episode. I'll go who performed, who didn't, why do we think they didn't perform, and then I'll do it. But I don't do it on a week-to-week basis, because you can get too obsessed. Like the point I made earlier about the social media stuff, you can get too obsessed and be too reactive. Yeah. You can just be changing things all the time. And I think that's real dangerous, because you don't know what you're pulling. You don't know what lever you're pulling.
Yeah.
So at the end of every season, I'll do a deep dive and I'll look at it and go, right, how do I make it 10% better? What 1 or 2 things can we incorporate into next season that will make either the process better or the episodes better?
But the base is making sure the recording is as strong as it can be. The clips can come from that, and that helps drive the engagement.
Good in, good out. Like, because that's the way I think about it is there's no level of editing that can make you sound interesting if you're as dour and as dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a good guest, it's like having poor raw materials in your restaurant.
I'm screwed here today anyway. So.
You're in trouble. I'm doing my best. I'm working hard. I'm pumping it hard here. But it's the same. It's the same thing, right? You can't. You can't, like, with all the edits in the world, you can trim it down. And I also try not to over edit. I hate podcasts that are over edited, that are like, bum. There's no breath. There's no, like, oh God, because I'm listening, I find it quite jarring.
Continuity or what?
Yeah, you hear a lot of podcasts now, and people are using software to do it. They remove filler words, they remove breath, they remove pauses, they remove everything, and it just sounds like Jesus. It just
it's not natural.
It's not. I struggle. It stresses me out when I'm listening because I'm like, my brain is still trying to process what they're just talking about. My favorite podcast is Gary Neville's Stick to Football because just chatting.
Yeah.
Like this morning, they were playing table tennis for a good 4 minutes. You're getting into it. And I'm like, I love this because it allows me to relax. So it's podcasts become more than just a vehicle for information. That's what they used to be. It used to be like, oh, just tell me everything you know about intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Now it's just, it's often company for people as well. I think about it as well. People stick my podcast on in the background just as like company for just to like when they're working or whatever.
I was in Tipperary during the week, left nearly 11 o'clock at night, had like a 2 hour drive ahead of me. It's just podcasts. Okay, when am I going to get lined up? Blah, blah, blah.
Love it.
And we talked before about people tend to have maybe 3 or 4 in rotation that they listen to and can be quite loyal to them. So what are your ones apart from Stick to Football?
Stick to Football number one. If that new episode, I literally came out of the gym this morning, and before I was setting off in the car, I literally went, yes. Yeah. I literally went, like a child, I went, yes, hit play. No, I'm not even thinking about it. And then I'm funny with podcasts in that I just football all the time. Like I listen to all the football podcasts, Talk of the Devils, BBC, Stick to Football. The business ones, then I dabble. I come in and out because I try study as opposed to more listen.
Okay. Right.
So I'll watch what's happening. I'll study certain people, and I try not to overconsume because there's a real danger then of falling into the habit of mimicry, falling into the habit of kind of imitation. So I'm very careful to retain.
What are the business ones you like?
So Acquired, Founders. I think they're really good. I used to love My First Million, but the lads are just very hard to listen to. They're just very smug. So I don't really like that. Some of the stuff they talk about is really interesting, but they've no grasp on reality. And I'll kind of dabble then. I'll look at like Chris Williamson, Diary of a CEO, Joe Rogan. I'll go across them all. Okay. And I'll listen to maybe like one of each of their seasons and just kind of like go, okay, this is really interesting. Especially in fairness, Diary of a CEO, they are always pushing the boundaries. They're always testing and doing new things.
Yeah. The one that always gets slagged off is High Performance Podcast.
People give him such a hard time. I like it.
I never listen to it. I listen. Second Captains is the one I listen to most, and they, on a weekly basis, they rip into that.
Do they? Yeah. I like it. I like it. I think it's really interesting. That's a podcast I do enjoy because again, it's the quality is very good. The guests are very good. There's one with Toto Wolff. It's one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was speaking of consuming clips. That's why it popped into my head actually because I saw a clip with it, and they had just the other day, and they had oh my God, my name's gone. James Blunt on it.
Oh, he's very funny.
Yeah, he's very good. But he's talking about how mean other people are to him in the industry, basically, and that was the clip that kind of stood out. It was pretty interesting.
It is because, like, of an interview, say an hour and a half, there'll be one piece that'll just go,
yeah,
and sometimes you can tell. You're like, whoa, here we go. But sometimes you can't. Like we put out 2 clips a day, right? So you kind of think you try pick them and go, these are going to be good. But sometimes you're on a system, right? You're putting out X clips, and sometimes you just go and you're like, what happened there? There was one that went mega viral, and it was Professor Stephen Kinsella in UL. I asked, what book would you recommend? And he was like, oh, Economical Writing by Deirdre McCluskey. And I was like, random.
Yeah.
Did the clip and mega viral. Like the book went to number 1 on Amazon.
Really, yeah.
And I was like, what, like millions. It did millions and millions and millions of downloads. And I was just like, the book rocketed in sales. You just see the sales trends just went like that. And people were sending me photos of them with 6 copies for all their staff. And I'm like, why did that resonate with people?
And why didn't I get a cut of that?
but again, I should have put an Amazon link in the thing. But I was just like, that's mad. Like, so you can, but again, you have to be doing the content to get the luck. That was definitely a luck run.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I still, to this day, I don't know why that took off. He did a very good way of selling it, as in the way he explained it. You're like, oh, that does sound kind of cool.
Yeah.
But again, it's just
struck a chord with lots of people. How much prep do you do before your interviews?
Not as much as people think is the answer. Because deliberately, it is. It actually is. Because I don't want to go in with preconceived notions and a bias.
Yeah.
I think a lot of interviewers go in with kind of like an angle. Okay, I really want to get him to talk about that bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get him around to that now and I'm going to labor the crap out of that until I get what I want out of it. Whereas I go in relatively blank, not blank in my mind, but just blank in terms of the canvas of where I want it to go. Obviously, it's all about the story for me, their story, like what has shaped them. And it'll actually evolve during the chat. They'll be like, I've never actually thought about that. And then we'll go down a rabbit hole. Whereas I find if people are just sitting there with a list of 50 questions, they are just thinking about the next one.
Yeah.
So you could say something like, like you did exactly there. You're like, I forgot
I had a pad here with a bunch of questions I never got to consult.
No, but like in terms of like you were able to jump back in there, and that's a sign of active listening. Whereas I think a lot of, especially radio, like radio is just, it's dying a death because it's just people who are doing, it's not their fault. They're doing 100 interviews a day across many different topics, and they're just given a producer sheet with a list of questions and they don't know. Whereas I just talk to founders all day, every day. That's all I do. I just inside out talk to founders. So for me, like have your niche and stick to it and just know a lot about that niche, because then it allows you to have these conversations that go deeper than, so how did the business start? And then how much money did you make in the first year? What lessons would you tell a younger version of yourself? There's a lot of trite, scratch all those 3 questions. But you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that's kind of lazy. People do lazy prep and they think by just being really prepped, when you go to a conference and they're sitting there and they've got like their things, they're like, so Stephen, tell me about this. You're just like rigid and you're like, oh God, I could have watched this YouTube video. Like for events and for podcasts and stuff, like this is a unique experience. Me and you doing this is unique. We could do this tomorrow and it'd be a totally different conversation. So it's a one-off thing, and you have to be able to, like when you go to an event, I like to kind of feel, this is worth coming out home for. Because people are working from home now. You have to make it really worth people's time to come and see you and do things.
I kicked off my Crocs for this.
Do you know what I mean, right? It's true though. Like the world has changed, but people haven't figured that out. You're still delivering the same crap you delivered in 2001. It doesn't work anymore. That tired model of just phoning it in. So I don't over prep. I'll try talk to a few people that maybe know them. If they do, like on Friday I had a guy come in and your man rang me. He goes, I didn't want to put this in text. He's a bit mad. I was like, in what way?
Good man.
I was like, in what way? And he goes, he's a wild man. He did this and this and this. And I was like,
brilliant.
Unbelievable. Brilliant. I was literally delighted. I was like, class. Because then I'll always go where they take me. And I'll always be and I always want to put people at ease. Like you've been through it. I hope you'd think the same. Try put people at ease and go, you take me where you want to go. I'm not going to push you in terms of like things you don't want to talk about. I'm like, you bring me where you want to go. I said, if you go too far, no problem. We'll just scratch it. I'm not out to catch you out. I said, you bring me where you want to go and I'll go down that route with you. So I do enough to be very well informed, to kind of go have a broad idea of what the story will be. But I'm quite reactive to what's happening in the moment. Yeah.
Okay. That trust, I guess, is important. I mean, you've built up a big back catalogue and stuff, but you want people going into this going, this guy's not thinking that you're going to catch them out or whatever.
I hope so. I hope so, and I do think about that a lot in terms of like there's so much there, and if people have never heard it before, I'll send them a couple and go, hey, look, have a listen to these 2. They're kind of in your field, or I know you know that person. Have a listen to this and sure, give so-and-so a shout. And they'll be able to see.
And you're building a media business empire. Where's it going to end?
It's a great question. Because I've started to ask people that themselves, like, why did you start a business? Where do you want it to go? For me, it's all about like building something that can sustain. Building something I really enjoy doing that can do for like essentially forever. what can you do that kind of you really, really enjoy that you can sustain forever? So for me, it's all about like time with my family, time to train, time to enjoy my life beyond the just work. Yeah. So I've deliberately built something that's very flexible, that I can be with my daughter in the morning. I can train in the morning, then I can be back with her, drop her to crash, go work, come back, pick her up from crash. It's like these years are really, really important for me as a dad. I really want to be there. Like she'll be in school in like no time. So like I've actively chosen to, and I've been in a position, it's also a privilege to do that, but I've also worked to put myself there. Now that I've the flexibility to go, I don't have to answer to anybody. I decide where I am, what I am. To me, that's so important. Like time freedom is so important for me. Just how my life is and how I've designed it after COVID. The things that we went through shaped how I think about my life, how I'm going to spend my time, especially with her, because it is super precious at this age. It's precious at any age, but you know, you never know when you'll do it for the last time. As in, like, there's the last time she'll want a bedtime story from you. There's the last time she'll want you to bring her swimming. So I try to over leverage.
My 5-year-old daughter won't let me give her a kiss in front of other people now, which is
that would break my heart.
Everybody's staring at me. I was like, what? Nobody's looking at you.
That would break my heart. You know, so like it's like tomorrow, perfect example, right? We're having a ditch day. So tomorrow's a ditch day. She's ditching crash. I'm ditching work. Okay. We're going to go to the zoo.
Cool.
And just have a day where like, let's just ditch off.
Very cool.
And just go. So stuff like that's so important to me. So where is it all going? It's to build something that sustains that life for me, that I can go and be with my family when I want to be, but also satisfies me professionally, because I am very ambitious. I do want to build something that's much bigger than myself. So for me, the big goals in the next 6 to 12 months is to build it beyond just me, so that's not just me. And I've done well in the last 6 months to put a team around me. So Lauren joined me in January. She's been an absolute game changer. I've Kevin who edits and Ben who's a videography. Like, they're just brilliant. Like, they know how to work with me. And I designed this document called the Gary Operating System. Okay. And I was like, someone gave me that tip and I was like, that's genius. No one had ever told me that before, is that design a document as to how you want to be worked with. Right. What do you like? What do you not like? What do you expect? What's okay? What's a red line issue? I was like, that's brilliant.
What's your red line issues?
Dishonesty, just not knowing. Because, you know, if someone covers something up, like it happened with the property and stuff, because if someone tries to double down, I've done it myself in the past, where you make a huge mistake and you're like, instead of
how do I hide this?
Honesty, you try double down and figure it out. Whereas like, if you just go, yeah, do you know what? Messed up there. I'm always just total transparency. Just total transparency for good and for bad. So that's a big one. It's just honesty. So where the media empire, I want it to be beyond myself. So I want it to be just beyond the Entrepreneur Experiment. I'll launch a spin-off podcast that I do, but then I hope to like launch other podcasts within the group.
Foxcast.
I don't know what we'll talk about, but I'll launch one just for you. That will just the podcast, Foxcast. And then just other brands within that, because I kind of feel like we've kind of figured a lot out in terms of like social first podcasting. I think that's going to become more and more important, especially in the business space. People are still doing very traditional media stuff, and it's just not working. I think there's a real opportunity there.
And you talked about the importance of having that balance with family and stuff, and your podcast is very Irish-centric. Is that on purpose to keep yourself here more?
No,
or do you have
be
ambitions
honest,
to go abroad?
That's probably been a lack of confidence on my part. I've wanted to grow up beyond Ireland, and I just haven't. It's been doing well, so I haven't pushed as hard. And with Willow being under 2, I was like, I kind of want to focus everything on her. So I've done Dubai now in February, and that's going to be a regular series now where we start like going abroad. So go to the UK, the US, expats, and then broaden out. So broaden out kind of the range of guests we have. So expats is an easy way of doing it. But then bringing on, like I had Sahil Bloom on. He was a guy I followed for years. He was writing a best-selling book, and I was like, I just really want to get this guy on. Just to satisfy my own curiosity of meeting him. And I think he has an incredible perspective on work. He used to be a trader. He used to be a heavy-hitting PE trader. Left it all to become a writer.
Okay.
You know, really interesting.
Serious lane change.
Yeah, huge, but like beautiful writer. And he's having like such a massive impact now through his writing. And he was kind of he was one of the first people I saw. I was like, oh, he's the kind of new model. You know, he's built his own little media empire there. Right. So like there is definitely scope for us to do like more events, more podcasts, and then like, you know, books and things like that down the line.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there.
There is. And I just, to be honest, I need to push harder. So like once Willow's, she's 2.5 now, she'll be going to school very soon. So I'm starting to kind of ramp things up now, starting to like ramp up production, ramp up kind of the amount of volume we're doing. We did a nationwide tour this summer. That was a way of experimenting with new types of content. That was just purely an experiment. I do live by the brand ethos of experimentation. That costs me more money than it'll ever make.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of time. You're putting yourself out there. Again, you're doing kind of like stuff that's funny. You know, it's a whole different area to like do social first content. So that was an experiment to see, right, what other types of content can we do? Because when you look at like Stick to Football, that's a different type of content. That's very relaxed, very casual.
Yeah.
You know, they film themselves coming in, they film themselves chit-chatting and like
having their breakfast.
It's working.
And,
you know, and look, Tia Vaughan, he's become one of the biggest podcasters in the world. He's a comedian. Like, so like he's having people like a doctor from Gaza on. He has like Mark Zuckerberg on. It's like the formats and how people expect formats is changing all the time.
Yeah, something fresh. So I'm going to flip the tables on you and do a rapid fire round, and you're going to create some content for me. Thank you, Gary.
Some gold, some viral clips here.
Yeah.
Economical writing.
Give you 10 million quid. What are you going to do with it?
I'd have it straight away. So I'd use half for my family. I'd bank off 5 million, pay off a mortgage, set us up kind of financially stable.
That didn't know it was an option. Sweet. Go on.
It's always an option. People are always, that blows their mind. I'm like, you can do anything you want, you know? Whereas people are like,
there's no terms
I'd
and
give it
conditions.
to charity and I'd invest it in my company. And I'm like, yeah, I know you would, but you know, so I'd have it off 5 million straight to the family, and I'd use 5 million for probably 2.5 million into investments and 2.5 million into the media company to grow that. Just accelerate what we're doing. Just put a huge team behind it. You know, more growth abroad, and just put a massive machine behind it. So we're kind of growing it out bit by bit, but I would just accelerate that.
How much would you give the Green Man to invest? Because I got in trouble on that when I was on your
I said
podcast.
the 2.5 million, didn't I? I was like, I had 2.5 to invest, so some of that will go towards Green Man. I did my investing experiment this year, and I would just do that. I'm lucky enough now that, like, part of me doing the podcast and part of me building this network is I have access to loads of great people now.
Yeah.
And I have access to all these brilliant minds like yourself and Green Man, but like Owen and Goldman and people like that, you're just kind of going, these people just operate at a totally different level. Like, didn't even know that was on the menu of life. Whereas you see, you're like, oh, that's a cool idea. So I'd leverage all those people.
If you're starting out again, day one, going to blank page, new business, what would you do?
I think, and this is kind of a cop-out answer, I would do exactly what I'm doing right now. I would do content. I think I'd definitely start businesses, but I would think content first. Like, how does this business grow? It grows through content. I think companies in the next 3 to 5 years will have media companies in-house. That's my big bet for the next 5 years, that they'll have marketing, sales, but they'll have media. They'll have literally, I think companies will have, do you know what I mean? They'll have studios like this in-house, and there'll be 2 to 3 people in their internal team whose entire job is media. I think that's my big bet for the next 3 to 5 years, is that, and that's kind of where I'm edging towards with the media production company, is that I think these companies are going to need a lot of guidance on this, because it's a whole different industry.
What do you believe that other people find strange or controversial?
Oh, I love this question.
Yeah.
It's kind of my favorite thing, right? Your mindset will dictate your outcome, and the people you surround yourself will have a huge impact on your outcome. Because
kind
I think
you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with?
Yeah, 100%. I think the people...
I spend most of my time with the 3 and the 5-year-olds.
That's what keeps you young. That's what
Explains a
keeps
lot.
you... Well, it also, I've learned more off Willow than I have off some of the smartest people I know, because just their natural curiosity, just the way they approach the world. But why is it like that? I'm like, good question, Will. I don't know. Let's find out. But I think just the people you surround yourself will massively, and I kind of reference back to the very first point I said, is that you need people in your life guiding you. You need to have good people around you. And I kind of wished I'd had that earlier in my career. And now that I have it, I'm just very grateful, but I'm also very kind of adamant to keep doing it, to keep surrounding myself with these great people. Like, you did an event there a couple of weeks ago, and like, just something happens when you're in a room with these people. Your brain switches on. So I try to put myself into as many environments as possible where your brain just switches on to the frequency of these people are on. Because you think, I train in a gym in Tala called Back to Basics, and the standards there are 10. Whereas I'm training on my own, it's 6.
Yeah.
And I would be very disciplined as a person. I would consider myself very, very disciplined. I would consider myself to be knowledgeable about training. I've done a lot of it. But when you're on your own, you're like, yeah, I'm at a 10 here. I'm flat out.
Yeah.
And then you go in, you're like, oh, the chart goes to 100.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to 10. You thought it went to 10. It goes to 100. You have a lot of work to do. So finding people around you in your circle that just raise the bar.
Yeah.
Because you automatically will get dragged up. So who you surround yourself with will either drag you down or drag you up. There's no in the middle.
Environment is really important as well. Best and worst investments?
The apartment. Definitely the apartment was the worst investment. And the worst investment wasn't just buying it, it was just not cutting it.
Right.
I should have cut it and eaten my loss.
Right.
I was waiting until it came back. It eventually came back, but you know what? I probably came out even.
Yeah.
I probably should have eaten a loss of, should have crystallized a loss maybe 10 years ago, because the mental energy that expended on me was astronomical. So during COVID, when I was having like this kind of like mini crisis, I made a list of blockages in my life. Like, so I was kind of felt I was stuck, right? I was really in the mud. I made a list of blockages, and that was top of the list.
Okay.
So a blockage was anything that was occupying mental energy.
Yeah.
I kind of believe every day you get up and you get 10 credits, right? You get 10 credits, mental energy credits today. And, that was one. And then this was one. And then this was one. So you're down to 6 before you got out of bed. So you're behind the ball.
Yeah.
So I should have just 10 years ago, should have eaten the loss, moved on. Because it was actually a Tim Ferriss quote. There was someone on his podcast or him that said it, and it stuck with me. It was like, you don't have to make it back how you lost it.
Okay.
And I was holding on to make it back how I lost it. I should have just eaten the loss, crystallized it, and moved on, because I would have made it back probably tenfold in that 10 years. So thank God it's finally gone. Best investment, controversial alert. This will be your crypto. This will be your viral clip. Bitcoin. Honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Bitcoin.
So you've been doing an experiment over the last year with that?
Yeah, experiment over the last year. But to be fair, it was a friend of mine, Jerry. In 2016, I was doing a martial arts program with him. It was like Wimp to Warrior. John Kavanagh and SBG put this on, and it took people with no experience of any martial arts.
Pretty cool.
Trained them for 7 months to have an MMA fight. Deadly, mental, but I kind of like that extreme stuff. So every morning you train from 6 to 8 in SBG. You trained like a fighter for 6 months. It was deadly. It was hard as hell. But in the mornings I would have breakfast with Jerry, and I could never figure out what he did.
Right.
I was like, because I'd work, I'd let the traffic go. I was working on my property business at the time. I was like, I'll let the traffic go. I was out in Inchcourse. It was a nightmare to get into the town. Let traffic go, have a bit of breakfast, be working away on the laptop. And Jerry's like, oh, yeah, I'll come with you. So for about a month, me and him were sitting there every day just chatting about stuff. Eventually, I was like,
what do you do?
I go, Jerry, what are you doing? Because he was just sitting there chatting away to me, and he's the most fascinating character in the world. And I was like, Jerry, what's the crack? What are you doing? He goes, oh, web design. Fair enough, it's a good answer. Another few weeks passed.
I've never seen you design anything, Jerry.
Another few weeks passed, and I was like, laptop down. What kind of web design do you do? You don't seem to be hustling. Or he's like, I was like, is it for other people or what? He's like, we design our own websites. I was like, oh, you've got my curiosity now. I was like, what kind of websites? Poker websites. I was like, all right, okay. What kind of poker websites? And he goes, oh, teaching people how to play poker. And I was like, right, but how does that make money? He goes, oh, affiliates. So we get paid by the gambling companies for people sign up. I was like, okay. So it turns out years ago, Jerry, they'd started paying him in crypto.
Right.
And that was his entrance to the world of crypto. And then 2016, he was paying for breakfast one day and he had a black card. I was like, what's that thing? And he's like, oh, it's a crypto card. I was like, what is this? Now, this was no one was talking about crypto.
Yeah,
this was when
nearly 10 years ago.
It was black metal card. I was like, what's this? He goes, oh, it's a crypto.com card. I was like, what's that? He goes, oh, I paid in Bitcoin for the fry. I was like, it's probably the most expensive fry he's ever bought in his entire life. Probably a 60 grand fry we had that morning. So I was like, oh, deadly.
Mushrooms at that price.
I was like, how does that work? And he goes, oh, it's digital money. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I'd kind of always been into anything digital, anything kind of interesting or new. I'd always been playing around with it. I played around with different types of internet money before, reward schemes and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool. How do you buy it? And it was complicated at the time. It was hard. You just set up this browser and to get this terminal. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll buy some. So I started just buying some, 100 quid here and 100 quid there. and kind of got to 2018. I was like, oh, this is going up. And then it just started to get popular, and it just kept going. So I just kept chipping away. So like my investment strategy over like the last 10 years has always just been steady. Just keep chipping away. Chipping away. During COVID, I managed to resist getting too crazy. People lost their minds during COVID. So I just always do experiments. And I was like, I did an experiment during COVID where it was like I bought coffee. Instead of buying a coffee every day, I bought crypto.
Right.
And then talked about it and said, am I up, am I down? Like the accountability piece with the figures. And then this year I did the compounding experiment, which was from September 1st last year to September 1st this year. So this will be going out probably as this airs. I put €10 a day into crypto and €10 a day into the stock market, just an ETF, Fortune 500. Just documented that. So I'll do a full pod on that, and I'll talk about it on the newsletter. But it just showed you the power of compounding, right? We all know compounding is real, but our human psychology, especially nowadays, is wired for immediate. We're wired to like, I want it now. Whereas the thoughts of even investing for a year, people are like, oh.
So Bitcoin and ETFs better than Celtic Tiger apartments in Limerick?
For sure. In summary, yes.
Yes. What have you sacrificed to achieve your success or get where you are?
Probably an easier life. Like it would have been easier just to get a good job, and it would have been easier, especially like I had a failed business after college. After I did a master's, I went back and we got funding, and for about 2 years we were trying to make this video startup happen. Again, too early, way too early. Video, the mobile phones weren't strong enough to support it. The broadband speeds weren't there to support it. Too early, wrong. And we wasted, I remember thinking this at the time, I was 28 when we started. I was 30, nearly 31 when we finished it. Like that's 3 years of your prime earning capital. So definitely I sacrificed earning capital of those years. And again, I've sacrificed that again now with the entrepreneur experiment, because with Host Bullers, it was going really well. And I could have started it back up like that and got it back to the same level. But I knew the long-term right decision was to sacrifice probably 2 years of growth and 2 years of finances. And in fairness, my partner, Michelle, has backed me on every one. She's backed me and go, I trust you. Over time, it's going to work out. So that's what I've sacrificed.
Finally, if I give you £1 million to invest in one person or one business, what would you do with it?
So I hate when people split it, so I won't. But I'll say if it was like 12 months ago, it would have been Bobby Healy with Mana. I think that's just going to be $1 billion company in the next couple of years. Right now, today, I'd give it to Anya Kendi and Smooth Company. She's exceptional.
Gary Fox, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you want to hear more of the Growing Further podcast, please check it out wherever you do get your podcasts. We're also available on YouTube. We're pretty active on social media, so please check us out on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks very much.